famous quote here on the National Football Show is, it's a football Friday, and we start the show off with Big Sills. Next 4 hours of the program powered by our great friends at BetUS. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure you log on. Check out the website. If you put some ducks down last night on the game, Big Sills told you to take the Los Angeles Rams, and they ended up coming through and doing a great job last night. By the way, real quick, so Matthew Stafford gets his stars back last night, and he throws for 4 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts gets his stars back, and he throws 14 attempts. Yeah, I think there lies the difference between Matthew Stafford and Jalen Hurts. Stafford throws for 4 TDs and looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and guys were wide open. By the way, did you see him go through his progressions last night? Holy cow, was his head on a swivel. There's no way of defending that when a quarterback plays like that. You can't defend that when his head is on a swivel instead of being, robotic Jalen Hurts. There's my guy. There's my guy. There's my guy. Holy cow, man. This guy, seriously, man. There's my guy. Here's Jalen Hurts, and here's a progression reading guy like Matthew Stafford. He's looking through. Oh, there's my third guy. Here's Hurts. And he's not moving. Holy cow, man. Matthew Stafford was sensational. By the way, first 15 minutes of the program is the most essential when it comes to our likes. Please slam that like button. Hit that bad puppy and send a message to everybody that's on YouTube right now that this is one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing show in all of YouTube, because it is. Guys, the metrics say that, and we appreciate it so much. Super chats all go to the top. Hit that like button. We so appreciate you guys. What a great sports calendar, too. World Series tonight. I got the Yankees in 7. FSU Miami for me on Saturday. Obviously, Bengals and Eagles will be on Sunday, and we're going to get to that here in a minute. I'll tell you this, man. That conversation about Greg Cosell and Jalen Hurts is starting to pick up a lot of steam. You're starting to see that now being brought up with a lot of talk shows nationally. You know, I mean, we're going to talk with Jason Cole, our NFL Hall of Fame voter, works for Yahoo Sports. That'll be at 3:30. We'll get a look across the league this weekend. Also, Xander will join us at 4:30. Philly Godfather is back with his stone cold lead pipe locks. Thank you, Tony Bruno. Appreciate you giving me that line. That'll be at 5:30. Always have to give the trademark to TB for that one. Stone cold lead pipe locks. That'll be at 5:30 with our good friend, Philly Godfather. So that'll be there for you. Once again, I got the Yankees in 7. It's been interesting. Plus, we'll take a look at Nick Sirianni's comments today, and we'll comment on it. My predictions of what I think happens in this football game on Sunday with the Bengals, and also week 8 of the National Football League. Please hit that like button. First 15 minutes of the program is one of the most essential times of the show for the next 4 hours when it comes to likes. That means they spread the show out. By the way, guys, you know me on this. I'm no savant when it comes to dealing with YouTube. Xander's more of that guy than I am. I'm as transparent as I could possibly be with you. And without you, I can't move the show. And you guys have moved the show from right, Xander, 200 likes and 200 views, I should say, to where now we're doing thousands and thousands of views a week. I mean, it's insane. And we appreciate you guys all across our platforms. It's insane. So please hit that like button. Thank you guys very much, man. You guys are growing the show like a weed, man. All good. Where to go first? Should I go with predictions? Oh, by the way, this starts a little gauntlet for the Eagles. You got Joe Burrow Sunday. You got Trevor Lawrence the following week. You got Dak after that. You got probably the rookie of the year in Jaden Daniels. Then you got Matthew Stafford, who you saw last night with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Once those guys are back on the field, then you got Lamar at the tail end of that. You're going to be taking on some quality quarterbacks here. Okay? You're going to be taking on quality quarterbacks. Please hit that like button. All right. Let me give you an opportunity first to start the program off here in the first block. How do you see this game shaping up on Sunday? On the road, Cincinnati. Hey, by the way, that statistic or that storyline that they've never won in Cincinnati has no bearing whatsoever on this game on Sunday. I like what Xander said this morning, though. Hey, for guys like me, you, fans, hey, you know what I love about John? Holy cow, man. Sometimes John is like saltpeter, or what is that? What's the stuff that makes your cannoli not get salt? What is that? He just absolutely throws cold water on everything. Xander's like, hey, Eagles have never won there. John's like, yeah, it means shit. Don't mean nothing. And you're like, no, I know. But to a fan and to the media, it's a nice storyline. It's a great opportunity for them to go in and do something that they've never done before. That's to go in there and win a ball game. Hey, does it matter to Nick Sirianni, or does it matter to the players that are currently on the current Eagles right now? Absolutely not. That's no bearing. Nobody cares. Nick didn't even know when Merrill Reese asked him the question this morning. Nick didn't even know they'd never won a game. It's not an issue. However, it's a cool storyline. I like it. There's John in the morning on Birds 365 going, that don't mean dick. You're like, okay. But I like the story too. I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing for the fans, especially generational fans that have been watching that team since Bill Berkey played in Cincinnati and then came over from Cincinnati and became a Philadelphia Eagle. Some people will go, that doesn't mean, well, it's a storyline. Don't you know how to build a story up? Some people look at one individual football game and go, that's the chapter of this year. And that's the right way to look at it in real terms, especially when you're a guy that covers the team. Historically, that's what fans are. They look at the past, the future, and the present. It's all good, man. I actually like that. Eagles win a ball-controlled game 24-17. This game could go either way, says Sue. How do you see this game playing out? Give me some scores. Hurts versus Burrow is a good storyline. Not really. One's a quarterback. The other guy's a wishbone quarterback. Stills, you'd be surprised how far people go for the truth. Hit the button. I know. I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to get that. Eagles D holds Burrow under 200. You must be under the assumption that you're good on defense. You're not. 28-14 Birds. Bill Berkey played at Arkansas State. My brother was a linebacker there also and played. Oh, for Larry Lacewell. Is that right, Wayne? Wayne, did he play for Coach Lacewell? Larry Lacewell is a legendary name. That's a legendary name, my friend. If he played for Coach Lacewell, that's pretty cool, dude. Birds 29-14, Eagles 27-24. Birds 27-24. Wishbone QB, baby. Better story, Chase and Sidney Brown. It is a pretty cool story. Forest 30-24 Eagles. Ooh, I see a score. I'm not going to mention the name that I have. Absolutely. I later got to try out with the Cowboys because Larry Lacewell. Very nicely done, Wayne. Wayne, I know you're real. That's a real name that no one knows. Larry Lacewell was an Oklahoma guy, too. Did a lot with Barry Switzer at OU. Absolutely. Hurts throwing over 200 yards. You got to be kidding. 24-9 Eagles. Wow, you guys. Here you go, Connor. Bengals 31-13. Get this. Here's Dick Train. Jalen Hurts is playing at an MVP level. No, he's not. He's one of the worst quarterbacks right now in the league. Do you understand that? That shows you how incompetent that guy's head is. Okay? No one thinks Jalen Hurts is playing good football. Nobody. Nobody except that dude. Nobody in the league thinks that guy's playing well. Not one person with any substance thinks that guy's playing well. Hurts isn't seeing the field and can't make the simplest throws. And he says he's an MVP. Of what? The lingerie league? Sills 28-24 Birds if we run. Winning the time of possession, 35-21. Stincy if we throw out of the block. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody thinks Jalen Hurts is playing well right now. Not a soul. Let's see now. Charlie's like, he's not playing well. I know you know that. Okay? Look at this guy. Hey, how about this? Let's say he's saying it true, that I'm lying. Do you guys think I'm lying that Jalen Hurts is playing MVP football and he's playing good football? Or do you think he thinks I'm lying? Do you really think I'm lying? Or is he wrong? So let's put Dick Track on the line here. How many people believe that Jalen Hurts is playing MVP football like he said? And I'm lying to you. Go ahead, I'll wait before I get into who I have in this game. No effing way. Nope, he's not. No way. Middle of the pack quarterback. No way. Not even close. He's playing MVP on Madden. Not right now. That's fair. Jalen knows he's not. Average at best. Come on, Dick Train, where are you? Looks like you're the only one in here that thinks that. Actually, I actually admire that. At least you're holding to your conviction. You know what? Not going to beat you up for that. Your stupid takes are just ridiculous most of the time. And they're incompetent. But the one thing that you do, Dick Track, you hold to your guns. And that's what we accept here, and that's what we want here. In many ways, dickhead, you're actually kind of the person we want watching our show. Am I right, Xander? Huh. So I can't kill you for this. I can't kill him. I can't, and I won't. Keep plugging away, son. Keep plugging away. He can improve by the end of the year. Just run the ball. Xander said that this morning. But to see the problem that you have with that stuff when you do that, Pete, Xander wanted, and I heard it this morning. You know what Xander said? Xander goes like this. What if we run the ball for the first 12 or 13 weeks just to get Jalen, kind of acclimated with the offense? It's a great theory. But why the fuck are you paying him $50 million? To what? Get his feet wet? I mean, who are we dealing with here? Guy's been in the league 5 years. How much more are you going to do that stuff for? So Xander wants to breastfeed Hurts for 12 weeks and then take him off the nipple and go ahead, go win games. Dude, we're beyond that time now. We're beyond it. We're beyond it. Xander wants to sit around breastfeeding the guy. I'm like, come on, dog. Sills, if you think Hurts is so bad, I'm surprised you never talked to Merrill about it. Is it because Merrill is tied to the organization? Paul, asked the question there and answered it in the same. Hey, Paul, Yes. Hey, Paul, I appreciate the super chat. And believe me, they go a long way here on the channel, but you asked the question and you answered it. I mean, yes. Is that an okay answer, Paul? Is that okay? Yes. I'll never respect a knee patter like Dick Train. It's all right, man. I get it where he's coming from. Big Sills, did you hear Saquon Barkley mic'd up? Love the guy. We need that energy on the offense. I love him too, dude. He's quite a leader, man. Sills all-time record in Cincinnati. Oh, 4-1. Holy cow. Big Sills, I watched Stafford rip passes in the middle of the field last night and realized that we don't use the middle because Hurts can't rip into small windows. Sam, oh my God. You should have brought this up with John McMullen. Our reporters in Philly should bring this up. How many times did you see Sam? How many times did you see Matthew Stafford last night throwing across the middle of the field? Half the throws? Hey, and this is what you get from a Nick Sirianni press conference or Jalen Hurts. Just worked out that way. I'm sure Sean McVay would never call plays. Can you imagine Sean McVay never calling plays for a quarterback that threw across the middle of the field? He wouldn't be on the team. He wouldn't be on the team. Matthew Stafford, when you watch him play last night, shows you all the deficiencies that Jalen Hurts has as a passer. When you watch someone like that. Dude, Matthew Stafford is an elite player. He's an elite quarterback. Do you know how many people can play like that? John McMullen said it. There's about 10 guys in the sport that can do that. The rest of them are average. There's about 10 guys who can do that. I mean, get this. Here's Dick Train. Matthew Stafford's 3-4. Are you under the impression that Jalen Hurts is better than him because his team's 4-2 and Matthew Stafford's 3-4? Your record doesn't mean shit, guy. You're an underdog to a 3-4 team heading into Sunday. You're a 3-point dog. Get this. Hey, you want to see what Dick Train's philosophy is? He says that the Rams are 3-4 and Stafford's 3-4. How come a 3-4 team is favored over you Sunday? Any coincidence to that? I mean, you're an underdog to a 3-4 team. How can that be, Dick Train? Oh, okay. Well, then why are you an underdog? Why are you an underdog by 3 points this week? Why are you an underdog? Home field. So wait a minute. Are you telling me that you think those two teams are even? The Bengals and the Eagles. I was not under the impression that the Bengals were as good as the Eagles if you're saying that. Wow. See how some people take a stat, try to fit their narrative, and then when it gets put on them, they look dumb. You're trying to tell me that a 4-2 football team is not favored going into Cincinnati. Okay. Sure. I see this game as a Giants game, but this quarterback is Burrow. To take full advantage of the Eagles' offense of not scoring in the first quarter with the capabilities. By the way, don't let Cincinnati get up 14 points. You're done. So let's get into my predictions. Four and 2. Philadelphia Eagles versus the 3-4 Cincinnati Bengals. Please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. Bengals started the season at 0-3. That's virtually a Death Star with your opportunity to make the playoffs. Joe Burrow's got 14 touchdowns and 2 picks. 110 quarterback rating. He's having arguably one of the best seasons in the league at the quarterback position versus the other guy who's having one of the worst. Burrow and Jamar Chase, check this out, are the highest rated quarterback wide receiver combo in the league at 141.0. That's the metric that tells you what the best combo in the league is with quarterback and receiver combination. It's Chase and Burrow. That's who you're facing on Sunday. The best QB and the best wide receiver combo in the National Football League is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Our secondary can't shut down Burrow and Chase. Absolutely not. So when you face Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they're the best in the game. There is no doubt that to get this too, here's something else you have to take into consideration with that statistic before I move on. And this is going to be the critical part here. Okay? This is going to be, there's two critical parts in this game here. Who's covering those guys? You're going to put a rookie on that? They're going to, by the way, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to go right at Quinyon Mitchell. You have to score first in this game to win it. Hit the like button, please. Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully. Xanders thinks that there is a ray of hope on what he's seen the last 2 weeks with the defense. Thinks there's a ray of hope. Okay? And by the way, this is going to be a metric game. You're going to be able to take things away from this game and apply them to your team and your roster. And you're going to have absolute metrics on what and how you look at your football team defensively and offensively. There's no question about that. Unlike the Giants and Browns where you got very little out of that, you can't really tell anything about it. You're going to get something out of this. Where Sunday night, you're going to go like this. You're going to go like this. Hey, they are good here. Hey, they aren't as good as we thought here. Okay? Tell me when I read this to you, how you apply this to this game on Sunday. The Eagles have racked up 13 sacks in the last 2 weeks versus the Browns and the Giants. Prior to that, the Eagles, and in the last two, the Eagles had 6 sacks heading into 5 sacks heading into the last 2 weeks. Do you understand something here? That their pressure rate was the 5th lowest in the National Football League heading into the final 2 games that they've played here between the Browns and the Giants, which means this. Who are they? Who are they? Prior to that, you had 5 sacks, and your pressure rate was 5th worst in the league on getting home. Last 2 weeks, you've gotten home against the Browns and the Giants. My question is, who are you? The Bengals aren't as bad as those 2 teams. Actually, if they win, they're 4-4, and they're back in the playoff hunt. So, again, your pressure rate, I mean, it was the 5th worst heading into the last 2 weeks. Now, this is what happens. If you get home against Burrow, the last 2 weeks become significant, and you apply that going, there was a ray of hope on what Xander says. But if they don't sack Joe Burrow this weekend, those Browns and Giant games meant nothing. Meant nothing. So That's a metric to keep an eye on. Last night, I was told that the Rams had one of the worst O-lines in all of football. Do you understand that the Rams offensive line going into that game last night, according to PFF, was ranked like 26th? Minnesota's pressure with Brian Flores was ranked 3rd in the league. Did Minnesota register a sack last night? Did they get a sack on Matthew Stafford? Because I missed it if they did. Did they get any pressure on him last night? Our D needs to produce turnovers badly. Can't remember a game we had 2 interceptions in it. Yeah, you're last in the league in turnovers. Can you tell me, I mean, did Matthew Stafford get put on his back last night by the 26th worst offensive line? Sills, if the Bengals lose to the Bengals, is their season over? If so, the Bengals may play desperate. Well, they got to hang in that division. They absolutely got to hang in that division. Dream Green, absolutely true. Okay? There could be something to this here with what Senor's saying. Are they a little better version of the Saints? You got to right that ship for sure. Okay? Eagles offense has to score 30 in this game. All comes down to Hurts. Absolutely. Hurts has not played well all year. Brown's a little better. He's become predictable again. Talking to Dave Wannstedt last night and Butch Davis. It's too predictable. Devontae and AJ and nothing else. I brought the point up. Why don't they just go to 12 personnel? Why are they pretending to put an offense out there he can't handle? The offense that Jalen Hurts has on the field, every time they line up, he can't handle it. You know why? The third wide receiver is an indicator, along with the tight end in your screen game. He doesn't throw screens. He doesn't throw to tight ends. And he doesn't throw to the 3-man. It's AJ and it's Devontae. John McMullen said something very interesting today, which is true about Hurts. The reason it looks the same is because the quarterback's the same, no matter who the coordinator is. Xander says, don't you think that when they hired Kellen Moore, he's going to go to the strength of the quarterback? That's why every coordinator is going to the strength. But there's so few of them, and that's why it looks the same. Your offense is never going to look any better than what it does. It's going to be inconsistent. Quarterback's going to overthrow, and he's never going to be better no matter who or what coordinator you bring in, especially when you want to try to throw the ball. John's right. The one common denominator is Hurts. You could have all these. You could bring in Kyle Shanahan. It won't matter because the quarterback is efficient in very few things. The reason it looks the same is because that's who he is. Brian Johnson. And the only offensive coordinator that had a different offense was Shane Steichen. The rest of them have been pro style, including Nick when he was 2-5. You know, I got to tell you something. I think Nick, the reason why he was glad to hand over the play calling after me and Xander, after the first 7 games, went, do you think this guy makes the year? I think he realized I don't have enough skill running the style of offense he needs. Because he's a drop-back quarterback, OC. Every competent quarterback knows how to beat us. Death by 1,000 cuts. Just quick throws, long drives, make the Eagles pass to stay in the game, which puts the emphasis on Hurts. The D can't get stops. Could be, that's right, Tampa Bay 2.0. Absolutely. Xander, I missed thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. All super chats go to the top. Please hit the like button. Xander, I missed the super chat. I think it was that green one. If you could get it up there. Dude, there's not a chance in hell. John nailed it today. John McMullen nailed it. Okay? He did. Let me make sure I get this. I said that all offseason, says John, and last season. I'm happy people are coming around. John, it's not going to matter who the coordinator. You know what, John? It's like hiring a coach in Dallas. Does it really matter as long as Jerry Jones, he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys? And it doesn't matter the coordinator you bring in Philly. Jalen Hurts is limited. And that's why the coordinators, hey, actually, it's a testament to Kellen Moore that he's running Brian Johnson's offense. Kellen Moore is running Kellen Moore's offense. That is Kellen Moore's offense. He just can't add more to it. My question is, why go 12 personnel, though? He doesn't use the 3 guy. Why don't you just go 12 like the Ravens do? Put a fullback back there. Run the ball more. Play like Baltimore. What is so much of a problem with that front office that they won't play like Baltimore? You're nowhere in Baltimore's world when it comes to winning games like that. Why can't you play like Baltimore to the skill set of the quarterback? Even in alignment, the Eagles are flawed. Okay? Get this. Daniel goes, we did use 3 guys. Yeah, but you had an RPO involved in that. And the 3 guy's more of a decoy. And he's more involved in the blocking. Hey, dude, what I would do with that 3rd wide receiver, I'd put a blocking wide receiver out there. You don't throw to him. And I'd make him involved in the run game more. Instead of having Devontae throw his face in some, make that guy earn his position. Can I tell you, there's 2 positions on the Philadelphia Eagles that really don't warrant any athletic ability. You know what it is? Being a place kicker and the number 3 wide receiver. They're the most useless people. Well, no, I can't say that about the kicker because he's actually winning games for you. I can't do that. Get this. Philly 4-4. Watching Hurts Oklahoma highlights. Now he threw over the middle. Big 12, they don't play defense. They don't play defense in the Big 12. That's why he can throw across the middle. That's why he can do that. Get this. Here's Dickhead. Kyle Shanahan sucks, and GM John Lynch is horrible. At least they have jobs. Seals the truth hurts, but you are right. They got to make this look like Baltimore's offense. It would help them a ton. Jimmy says this. No sacks, Dan. Vikings had an interception now. Okay. Yeah, but my point was, Jimmy, I was told that the Rams O-line was horrible. They were 26 according to PFF. Okay? I was told that they couldn't block anybody. Well, they shut them down last night. Dude, this is a great one here. I can't wait to see Jalen Hurts play against Sean McVay, John Harbaugh, and Dan Quinn. I agree with that one stat down here, Maxon. PFF is weird. They got a lot of good things, and they have a lot of shitty things, and some of them just don't make sense. Okay? Man, how good would it have been if he had Van Kinkel instead of Dean? I don't know. 15 passes max for Jalen. We had a chance if we can run Barkley down their throats. Let me continue here. This is what this comes down to on Sunday. Hit the like button, please. This is what this comes down to. Will the Eagles, will they lean on Barkley more than Hurts in this game? If they lean on Barkley, they'll win. If they don't, they're losing. Getting the ball to AJ and Devontae is not championship football. It doesn't result in championships. That's not a championship mentality. Getting the ball and primary targeting is not championship football. Spreading it around, not being as predictable, rolling right, 2 targets, struggling with the basic concepts of passing in the game. At the end of the day, the best player in your huddle right now is Saquon Barkley. I got 30-21 Bengals. I don't particularly think the game's close. Because the quarterback versus Joe Burrow, I'm not taking that any day. Hurts over him in the way he's playing in that offense. Hurts in the 22 offense, that's a different conversation. Hurts in the passing offense, never happened. And the current way they're coaching him, no way. He is not an elite quarterback. He is barely above average versus one of the elite guys in the game. I'm not in there. He's regressed in a year and a half of play. No one can deny that. Nobody. Jalen Hurts, since the first game of 23, has not played well in any game except maybe the Browns of a couple weeks ago. Other than that, it's been up and down, it's been spotty, and it's been flashes. He has not been consistent in any football game. Okay? 30-21. Bengals, and like I said, I don't particularly think the game's close. Talking like Bengals ain't just struggling against the Giants and Browns. Like, stop it. Comes down to the teams. Comes down to matchups. And I don't think your secondary can match up with the with the Bengals offense. I don't think your defense is as good as you think it is. I keep saying it. And coming out of the Browns and Giant games, I'm not impressed. You can be impressed with the last 8 quarters. I'm not. And to some extent, if you listen to John McMullen, nor is he. Super chats go to the top. We're going to find out this game. So Hurts turnover issues are actually improving as far as I see. Cleveland and New York games are moot. Correct. Yes. Without a stacked offense, Hurts can't perform, other quarterbacks can. No doubt. That's totally a storyline. Seals, we could have had both Barkley and Henry with our O-line. Trade AJ. Hey, that's a great take, Sam. Hey, Sam, who would you rather have? Barkley and Henry or AJ and Devontae on your offense? Who do you think wins more games? With Hurts running the RPO. Can you imagine having Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Henry in the same backfield? I'd rather have those 3 guys than A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Didn't mean dick a year ago to you because your quarterback stinks. There's no other way to look at that. A.J. had 1,500 yards. Devontae had 1,100. And your quarterback stinks. I mean, the only guy who had a poor year last year was the QB. And you know what really started happening in Philly? Well, Jalen really didn't play that bad last year. Yes, he has, because it's carried over this year. You know why? It'll never change. It is now in stone on who he is. I will tell this to Xander and everyone. He will never get better. This is what it is. You can't have all that talent and go, well, he's going to improve. No, he's not. He doesn't have that skill set. Eagles have no choice but to bench Hurts if he can't rally this team. If he falls behind, that's why Barkley was signed, to avoid that from happening. Yeah. Defense hasn't allowed a TD in 2 games. They are ranked in the top 10. Sills isn't impressed against the Giants and the Browns. No, I'm not. Against Daniel Jones and Deshaun Watson? No. Like I said, we're going to find out how good you are. Burrow, Trevor, Dak, Daniels, Stafford, and Lamar Jackson. By the way, it's not the fact that some of these guys are not as good as the other guy. I'm talking about who you're playing as a group. You're playing against competent people that know how to move the sticks. I'm talking coaching. Get this. I mean, Burrow, that guy, Zach Taylor, whatever you want to say about him, what was Cincinnati before he showed up? Dude, I'm not really going to debate this any longer when it comes to a guy like Burrow versus that Eagle defense. Okay? Sills, the goalposts move constantly. Eagles win next week. It'll be some other stat. What stat? Your quarterback sucks? There's no stat for that. What stat is it that your quarterback can't make the simplest of plays? What freaking stat is that, Clairvoy? That's not a stat. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Goalposts move? Well, here, I'll make it so it's in the sand. He can't make the simplest plays. Is that okay for you? There is no goalpost move. There's no other metric. He's not good. We hired a $13 million nursemaid for Hurts. Hurts can't get Joe to bone. I got you. Get this. Here, Sills knows everything. No, all you have to do is watch it and listen to experts. Greg Cosell's an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm not playing as an expert. Okay, get this. JT, look at these freaking Hurts lovers. Sills, we're lucky Hurts was second rounder. Oh, okay, JT, my bad. Okay, yeah, but now that's over. You signed him to that $250 million contract, JT. Okay? Here, look at this guy. F this. Don't want to hear it. He knows it. Understood. Is Jalen willing to say, I can't play this style of offense play to my strengths? Can't say. Yeah, he could. Get this. The guy's a dickhole because what? He told you the truth? Is that how you see things? Or are you like one of those guys that, you believe you're not believing your own eyes? How about this, Philly? Do you believe your own eyes? Let's just take Greg Cosell out of it. Are you under the impression he's playing better? How about this? No. I'm going to ask you. You really think he's played well in a year and a half? Has he? Your own eyes. You. Do you think he's played well in a year and a half? Okay. You never said he's playing better. Well, what's Greg Cosell not saying that's true? You call him an asshole, or you say this about him, then when he brings up something that's credible and points it out, you call him an asshole. Okay? Cosell knows how to break down tape, and he's 100% correct. Jalen can't make some of the throws in the game. It still hasn't slowed down for him. It hasn't. But, dude, Pete, this is my problem. Again, we're basically talking about something with 2 different results that could come out of this, which is frustrating. Here, let me go here, Pete, because there's some truth to this. He made those throws like that when he was in his 2022 offense that more of the coordinators feared the RPO. What did Wink Martindale tell Jalen Hurts last year? We didn't fear the quarterback running. We knew he wasn't going to run anymore. So we didn't fear it. It was so predictable. The shitty Giants beat you. And you had full strength in everyone. And you were fighting for home field advantage in the NFC East. You weren't taking games off at the end of the year. You were battling for the East with the Cowboys. Can't make that excuse up. And you got beat by the shitty Giants. Why? Everything Greg Cosell said. They didn't fear him running anymore. When Hurts doesn't run, he's no threat. Can you imagine a game in an NFL season where you asked your quarterback that's making $50 million to do less in a game, and the other players around him carry him to that win? Jalen Hurts was carried in that game last week. He really was a non-factor, unless it was in the run game. The pass game was limited. And the only reason you got away, like John McMullen said, you could have rolled out the bag of footballs and beat the Giants last week. Here. What's the significance of what he just said? So what, Sills? Oh, I thought we were talking about being a championship football team. So, Akbar, you're talking about just being a decent team. All right, I got it. Sure. I agree. Hurts isn't playing well, but to say he can't get better, he won't get better. He's not going to get better. How many freaking coordinators? You fired Nick. You fired Brian. You fired Nick, Brian, and now you got Kellen doing the same shit all those other guys did. Think about this for a second. I want to show you something here. Here, I'm going to show you something. Okay. Without having Shane Steichen in the building, you're 17-14 as a team. Without Shane Steichen. 2-5. 11-7. And 4-2. You're 17-14, but that's without Shane. You think there's any coincidence to this? That's 31 games versus 17 games. Don't you know what you're looking at yet? That's 31 football games without Shane Steichen. How are you not looking at that and going, wait, Nick had him in a pro, right, Xander? Nick had him in a pro-style offense the first 7 games of 21. They were 2-5. He couldn't do it. And they said, well, he doesn't really have a lot of talent around him at the wide receiver. We all bought into it. Well, last year, that was Nick's offense. Said it every week. They went 11-7, counting a postseason loss. Okay. Now they're 4-2. 17-14 without Shane Steichen as your coordinator. You really don't think there's something to 31 NFL games where you have a sample size now. And you're going to tell me he's going to get better? He needs better coach? No. Here. Players with talent get better. Not players that are limited. People were quick to turn on Wentz for the same issues Hurts has. We need to wake up as fans. We have a problem brewing. Not a quarterback's never great talent like his. There's no. People were quick to turn on Wentz for the same issues. Absolutely. You're starting to see him with Hurts. We need to wake up as fans. We have a problem brewing. Not a lot of quarterbacks never get talent like this around them. He's dead on. O-line, wide receivers. You're dead on, Anthony. Sills, if you look at last year chance about run the ball, maybe the issue has been lingering since last season. Now we have Barkley. He has answered Jalen's flaws in the game and gives us a chance to win. Abe, Saquon Barkley is now forcing the hand of the coordinators to play him at that rate more. Let me tell you what, if you have 15 carries come Monday and that's it in that ball game and they get beat and you have 38 passes in that game, there is no question it's a fundamental flaw that the coordinators, that was a coordinator issue. Your chances of winning that game are not throwing the ball 37 times. Your chances of winning that football game are running 37 times. You can't win throwing the ball 40 times. You cannot win. He's not good enough. Because get this, of the 37 passes against the shitty Cincinnati Bengals defense, 3 of them will be critical mistakes in the game. He'll make plays, but 3 of them will be the critical throws that he couldn't see. I mean, so what can we do? We have Jalen for the next 2 years. Should we just accept struggling? No, what they should do is continue to put as much talent around him as they possibly can. That's what I would do. And I would have a ready-made offense for the next guy who comes in 2 years, 3 years. I don't know who that guy will be. Maybe that guy will be Joe Burrow. I mean, is Cincinnati really going to sit around? You think they're signing T. Higgins in the offseason and Jamar Chase? I want to see it. They made a strategic mistake by allowing Joe Mixon to leave. He was an integral part of that entire offensive machine. And it's hurt them. That's why they're down in the 20s and the late 20s when it comes to running the football. Okay? Get this. Still said Jalen would turn the ball over in the Giants game. They didn't give him a chance to. He only touched it 15 times, threw the ball 14 times. They didn't give him a chance. So what they did, instead of eliminating the turnovers, they eliminated his touches on them. Get this. Saquon Barkley had more touches in that football game, in theory, that were more impactful than your quarterback. He was making 10 yards a play. A.J. Brown was making about, 17 yards a play. Your quarterback was the least. You could have had Kenny Pickett start that game and win. 14 attempts. You could have Tyler McKee turn around and hand it to Saquon Barkley and win that game. Do you not agree to that? Do you not agree? You could have put Kenny Pickett in there and won against the Giants last week. A lot of it is a lot of go routes. I don't understand the whole offensive scheme. You don't understand the offensive scheme, Robert, because the quarterback doesn't understand the offensive scheme. By the way, here's another one here. 0 points in the first quarter through 7 weeks. At some point, that will come to haunt us. How about this, too? Forrest. It's not the fact that, here, how about this? You're 4-2 and you haven't scored a point. Does that stuff sometimes you have wacky numbers in the NFL? Yes. Guys, please hit the like button. Do you have wacky numbers? Yes. Okay. But the fact that you script those out for him and he can't put it in the end zone, can't even get a field goal. What does that tell you? These are plays that you sit down with your entire coaching staff and the quarterback, and you know what you're doing. Do you know once you go off that first 20 or 25 plays, after that, it's in-game adjustments. You start with a list of 25 plays. Everyone, it's what a play sheet is. You have opening drives, usually about 4 of them, and you've got scripted out 25 plays depending on the situation. 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 7. And you look at those and they're ranked. And you go with that. The quarterback picks them out himself. I like this play. I like that play. I like this play. And he can't execute them. These are his plays he handpicks. The offensive coordinator, the head coach, the passing coordinator sit down and say, Hurts, what 25 plays do you want to run against the Bengals this weekend? Jalen will pick out about 25 plays, watching film, situational, what they like to do on defense. He'll handpick those. They'll put an offensive playbook together and a play chart together for him. He'll have him on his wrist. I don't know if Hurts has anything on his wrist, so probably he doesn't have him on his wrist. All the really great ones. Brady had one. Brady had the play sheet on his wrist. I mean, Jalen Hurts picks those plays. Kellen Moore and him. How many times have people like John McMullen asked Kellen Moore this question? How much is Jalen involved in the game plan each week? Significantly. Well, that means that Jalen's picking these plays. He's just as accountable for the fact that you're not putting the ball in the end zone in the first quarter as the coaches are. You know why? He can't execute them. I mean, you go like this. Well, those are really crappy plays. He picked them. He handpicks those plays, the quarterback. He handpicks them. Here, look at this. It's his job to hand it off. How about this? Check it out. If you notice, what becomes apparent, Barkley's more of a factor after the first 3 series. Barkley gets going because the quarterback can't. Then they have to be reduced to running the ball. It's crazy. So Jalen is picking the play, setting the protections. Xander wants to breastfeed him for 12 weeks till he gets his feet wet. And Barkley's carrying the mail. And we're sitting here developing a quarterback like he's a second-team quarterback at Alabama. I mean, I thought we were beyond that. How many games has this guy actually played now? Let's take a look at this. Let's see here. He's played 57 NFL football games. 58, counting the playoffs. This guy's around 60 games. He's going to do what now? This guy's got 60 NFL ball games under his belt. And what? He's going to get better. Sills, I do have to say, Hurts was drafted after Tua. Herbert, Love, Burrow. I have to say, I think he's outperformed Tua. No, he hasn't. Tua led the NFL in passing yards last year. Something Hurts will never do. He's not the talent Herbert is. Maybe even Love. Dude, are you trying to tell me you think Jalen Hurts is better talent than Tagovailoa, Herbert, and Love? I would never draft Jalen Hurts over any of those other guys. JT, there's not a premier quarterback. And today, I would take him over Carr, Geno, Mayfield, Darnold, probably Trevor Lawrence. Other than that, I'm not taking him over Golf. Golf's better. Golf's actually getting better as he's getting older, which is insane. He's getting better. Hurts is the winningest quarterback in that class. That's about it. Imagine this on what Xander just said. It's true. You got a guy like Greg Cosell and others now that are saying this. He has the winningest record of those guys, and yet you have people saying he can't make the simplest throws. And his problems in the pocket are glaring. Whew. And the only reason that he has that winning record is based off of one season. That's my point. It's a one-year blimp. The rest of it is 500. He's a 500 quarterback. This is like your record. Hurts is an indicator of your record. You know how many of you guys, like M. Reyes and you guys, will go 10-1, 14-3, 14-3. Keep putting it up because the rest of the sample size, which is more, is 500. That's who he is. He's not 14-3. He's probably not 17-14 either. He's right there in the middle of the room. Little above 500. That's what he is. Like I said, without Shane Steichen, he's a 500 quarterback. His winning here, like Xander said, his winning dictates that. Eventually, don't you say that 22 was an anomaly? Herbert didn't get the ball in the end zone at all Monday. He is good for fantasy points. Okay, you're right. If you were to put that guy in the NFL draft, 32 owners and 32 general managers would take Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts and not think twice about it. Seals, let me ask you. I agree that Hurts should be picking the first 25 plays. Are you sure that's what's happening in Philly? Well, that's what they're – well, no. But that's what they're saying. No, I'm not. No. I'll pull a dick train on you here, Bob. I'd be lying if I told you I know this. But, Bob, how it usually works, the quarterback sits down. I've been in those meetings. The quarterback sits down like I was in a meeting with John Gruden when he had Rich Gannon. And they would sit down and go like this. What 25 plays do you want? And Rich Gannon, he used to go over to the chalkboard, and Rich Gannon would write down the first 25 plays that he wanted on the play chart. And then John Gruden would ask him, why do you want this? And where do you want that one play? He'd go, play 5. Is that 3rd and 6? Or do you think that's more of a 1st and 10 play? John would take notes. And then John would go situationally in those first 25. And then you start to get a sequence going. That's how you look at it. How many times, Bob, do you watch a sequence in the first start of the game where all of a sudden you go, why is that guy running that ball on 2nd and 10? And you sit there and they don't pick up any yards, and then they're 2nd and 8 or 3rd and 8. You're automatically behind the sticks. Why? Because that play did not work in that sequence, and it was the wrong play to call in that sequence. Then you punt. Because 3rd and 8, there's a 19% chance you're going to complete it. Do you understand that the percentages go up, and you're looking for low turnover percentages as that thing moves up? A 1st and 10, you got about a 12% chance of completing a first down on 1st and 10. So what are you trying to do? You're working the 10 yards. You're trying to win first down. How many times did Barrett Brooks come in here and go, the number one thing in sequencing when it comes to play calling, you want to win first down. You want to at least get 4 yards on first down because that makes it 2nd and 6. You could have a 3-yard gain and you're sitting there at 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 1. And that is a 42% chance of you completing that 3rd down on 3rd to 3, 2, or 1. You're in the room where you're up near 38 to 42%. I used to get those sheets all the time. You never want to be 3rd and 8 if you're an offense. And if you're a defense, you want them in 3rd and 8. The nightmare game for all defenders is this. Every single football team and every sequence is 3rd and 3 or shorter. You're like, you're never getting off the field. Okay? Get this. Here's another asshole. Sill's first 2 hours of the show is meat riding Hurts. This dickhead doesn't understand you're playing against freaking Joe Burrow. He has to do more than 14 attempts, asshead. He can't just go out there and think you're going to beat that guy with 14 attempts like you're playing at K-State. Jalen Hurts has to do something in this Bengal game to beat that Bengal team. And this guy's sitting there going like this. Now, we'll just throw out there. We'll put a guy out there like Barkley. He can run the ball 40 times in the game. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Is a dickhead like this, that quarterback has to make significant plays, like Greg Cosell said, to win. And it comes down to the $50 million. Hey, by the way, I'll tell you what, too. How about this? Don't pay the guy $50 million. This guy right here wants, this guy's got another agenda. I got a feeling it has more to do to football. Hate all the analytics and percentages. But wait a minute, Charlie. The analytics and percentages, there's a place for them. Applied analytics. Applied situational football. The good teams and the good coaches know where to put it in there and apply them. By the way, here, let me get this up, and I want to get to this other one. Herbert Duke gets off on empty stats. I want wins. Okay, I understand. Most fans like Hurts. It's got nothing to do with it. I like Hurts. I watched him play very well. Hurts will have to throw the ball at least 30 times. Chris, that clouds the judgment on evaluating when you like a player. Never fall in love with a player. Fall in like with him. You never get your heart broken. This is pro football. They all get paid. The problem that fans fall into is they fall in love with guys instead of falling in like with them. Your general manager doesn't fall in love with anybody. He falls in like with them. Okay? Dan Sileo, let's say Hurts thinks it up this year. Do you think Howie will try to trade for a mid-tier quarterback to salvage what we have in the offense? Or do you think we'll simply go back to 22? No way you go back to 22. That's an admitting of failure. Ray, I'll ask you. He'll draft a quarterback in the second round, and they'll try to duplicate it. They may not take a quarterback in the first round. I don't believe they'll take a quarterback in the first round. Like, ever. I don't believe that. Howie, if anything, would trade for a ready-made product. You know why? What would make you think he could draft a quarterback when he's destroyed 2 already? What, I mean, by the way, could Joe Burrow succeed here with the talent? Sure. Could Joe Burrow succeed here with the type of control that the analytics people in the front office have? I don't know. Who would be his coach? Nick? Well, that's not going to work. Zach Taylor's a play-calling head coach. Okay? And look at this. Here's Andreas. Look at this. Andreas makes this seem like this is a thing here. Hurts beat Allen Mahomes without Saquon Sills. Yeah, and he lost to Drew Lock, Tyrod Taylor, Kyler Murray, and Zach Wilson. You know what that tells you? That most of those wins, they figured him out, and in the back end, he couldn't beat bums. And that conversation right there means nothing. Allen has nobody. Mahomes has nobody but Kelsey. And last year, DeAndre Swift just got an $8 million contract in Chicago. He was a Pro Bowl running back. Don't make it sound like Swift was shit last year. He wasn't. How the hell did he get that $8 million contract? Had to have done something right last year, don't you think? Sills, I know that's usual with the first 25 plays, but it's also usual for the head coach to pick as coaches. Oh, I think they all. I think there's a three-headed monster, maybe even with Musmeyer in there, picking these plays and trying to pick out the best plays possible for Jalen in the first 25. Nothing in this organization is usual. Don't forget Brian Pumper's super chat. Thank you very much, Bob. Hey, Sander, I did miss our friend Brian's super chat here. Yes, I'm sorry, Brian. Hurts 316 fanboys are delusional. Are you going to win a shootout over Burrow of Joe when we have water pistol Hershey Hurts community in ruins? Oh, get this. Dan really just called Swift elite. No, I said he was a Pro Bowler and he just signed an $8 million contract. By the way, Andreas, he's making the same money that Barkley's making. Last year, he had 1,100 yards. And he made the Pro Bowl, and he signed an $8 million contract. Did I really say he was elite? I never said he's elite. I said you had a damn good Pro Bowl player last year. He had an elite season. And by the way, I mean, he played great for you. Hence the contract he got in Chicago. And by the way, Andreas, they offered him a contract first. It was just hoping for a hometown discount. They wanted Swift back. He said no, went to Chicago for $8 million. They offered him $6 million. Well, he went to Chicago, got more. And you landed on Barkley was your second choice, not your first choice. That's John McMullen. McMullen said it on Birds 365. Swift was the first choice. But Swift wanted to test the open market. By the way, here's another thing. Myles Garrett got paid in Carolina. How's he doing? Based off the talent that they have in Carolina? Awful. Awful. Based off the talent in Philly? How's Hurts doing compared to the other quarterbacks? Awful. How can that be? At least Myles Garrett or Miles Sanders can turn around and go, well, the Carolina Panthers are run by David Tepper, and it's a horseshit show down here. What's your excuse? What's your excuse? All that talent, how come he doesn't put up elite numbers? How about this? Let's ask the simplest question. Elite players put up elite numbers, right? Look at what Stafford did last night. He gets Puka Nacua back, and he gets Cooper Kupp back on the same time. He throws for 4 touchdowns. You get your guys back, you throw 14 times. By the way, Matthew Stafford did that shit versus Brian Flores. I mean, you couldn't throw more than 14 passes against the Giants. Oh, my God. Oh. Get this here. Look at this. So Stafford needs 2 star wide receivers. So think about what he just said here. So Stafford needs 2 wide receivers. Jalen's got 2 wide receivers, and that guy can't do shit with them. First night back, that guy throws 4 touchdowns. He takes advantage of them. Sean McVay takes advantage of them. Do you know what the Eagles do when they get their guys back? They go the other way and take the ball out of the quarterback's hand. They put the ball in Stafford's hand. They took the ball out of your guy's hand to beat the Giants. They asked them to do less. You had to go to that game last night. Hey, Matt, you're going to throw the ball 9 times tonight. We just got our guys back. Don't worry. We got a nice running back, and they do. We're going to hang on him. We're going to hang on him, and you're going to throw the ball 9 times tonight. Oh, okay. Sure, I guess. It's like having to beat the truth into you. Every team needs good wide receivers. Stop the crap. Who's a good wide receiver prior to DeAndre Hopkins going to Kansas City? Name me one receiver that's good in Kansas City. Name me a Kansas City, or name me a wide receiver in Buffalo. Name me a wide receiver in Green Bay. Can you? I mean, by the way, I get Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs down with a rookie quarterback or into his second year. Abe's like, Worthy's upcoming. Yeah, I guess so. Rashee Rice couldn't make the Eagles, but he's now elite. Oh, and by the way, just to show you how messed up that whole thing is, if Jalen Hurts had 6 touchdowns and 8 picks, you'd be 2-4. Mahomes is 6 touchdowns and 8 picks, and he's 6-0. It's quite a difference with nobody on the team. Get this. Look, Sills is acting like Mahomes has godly numbers this year. Well, wait a minute. If your guys are telling me that winning matters with Hurts, doesn't winning matter with Mahomes or no? If Jalen's not playing well and they're 4-2, this guy's 6-0 and he's not playing well. And he's going for a three-peat. Isn't it funny anytime you see Hurts and Mahomes, don't you gag? Don't you gag? I didn't bring up Mahomes. I brought up the style of play that they have. They don't have primary targets. Get this. Here's the thing about staff. By the way, can I tell you why the Rams looked great last night? Who's that running back they have? That Rams have an underrated running back there. That kid's pretty good, dude. Pretty good. Dude, look at this. You said, look at the elite quarterbacks. They don't need a star wide receivers. You put up good stats. Yeah, they do put up good stats. Stafford won a Super Bowl too. Real Eagle fans would happily take Burrow. Bumper. Better everything. Better hair. Hey, Bumper. Better hair. Better outfits. I mean, the whole thing with Burrow's is cool to me. Okay? Here's John. John, thank you for the super chat. Awesome. Tanner's a backup plan because he's still on the roster for a second year and is the only quarterback on the roster that can run Nick's and Kellen's offense. He's a late round pick. How he saves his own ass. They're getting him ready. I don't know, man. I don't know. Would he have the balls? They're not going to do. That's a Jeffrey Lurie pick. Jalen Hurts is the long-lost son of Jeffrey Lurie. They're not taking that kid out of there. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're not taking him out of there. I think Tanner does some nice things too, but, dude, that never happened. Unless there's an injury. Seals, why can't the Eagle organization have a dynasty like the Chiefs, Steelers, Patriots, etc.? Well, because they don't let their football people be football people. You kind of had one with Andy. Andy just never closed the deal. Andy was given the most responsibility. By the way, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman take so much credit for the Andy Reid era. And you know what they really do? They kind of overshadow what Doug did. It was Reid that built the entire organization to all the things you do today. And they apply them and make the front office seem like now they're making the decisions. The difference between Andy Reid and the Andy Reid Eagles and the Howie Roseman Eagles, Andy ran it from the coach's office. Howie runs it from the owner's box. That's the number one difference between the style of running an organization and building it. That's to completely, like I said, the number one general manager in all of pro football today was a former assistant coach you had on special teams in Brett Veach, the best talent evaluator in the NFL today is in Kansas City. By the way, like you guys say, Sills, Mahomes is not playing well. Well, who built that defense and who drafted those players? Brett Veach did. With Steve Spagnuolo's help, of course. But you know one thing you don't see? You don't see that general manager in Kansas City taking bows and on the sideline giving fist pumps and shit. You never see Brett Veach. He's not a glory whore. That's not who he is. And that's how that organization in Kansas City's run. He's not a glory whore like Howie Roseman is. I mean, have you ever seen Brett Veach in public? Have you ever seen him at a press conference? I can't remember the last time I've seen him in front of a mic. Only in KC, though, do you have that kind of dynamic where nobody talks but the head coach and the coordinators. GM never talks. Well, Pittsburgh, they do that shit too. I would trade Hurts for Herbert in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Anybody in their mind would. Veach is a football guy at the core. How he read a book on how to draft. The general in Kansas City knows he has to get great on defense put together because he knows he's going to have to bail out Mahomes. Really. Bail out Mahomes. 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Or excuse me, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. You're bailing Mahomes out. That's a first. You're bailing a 3-time, at the age of 27, Super Bowl MVP who's going for his 3rd unprecedented championship. You're bailing Mahomes out. Okay. Yeah, that's a new one. Dan Sileo, do we have to pray that Jeffrey Lurie? No. We're not going there. Come on now, Ray. We're not doing that. Talk like that. Come on now. This is football talk, not wishing people bad things like that. That's bad juju, man. Not me. Not happening. Because that stuff will get turned on me. What happened to Sills? He's talking shit. Jeffrey Lurie should die. And the next day, Sills had a heart attack. I'm not going there, man. The holidays are coming up. We're all good. Hey, I know, and Ray, I'm not saying I appreciate you, man. But hey, I can't have the bad juju coming up with the holidays. You know, I want to get to G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. I got a lot of things working behind the scenes here, and I got to have some good mojo. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going down that route. Wait, so Jalen is Lurie's guy. So whose choice was it to draft Tanner McKee or Nick? I'm assuming those were Howie and the owner. Yeah, hey, nothing on Ray. J-Quest. By the way, please hit the like button. Nothing on J-Quest. I can't have bad juju on me. I can't have that bad juju, man. No working on me. No way. Hey, Sills, I got to hope for this. No, I'm not hoping anything like that. No way. I got enough people hoping that I kick the bucket. Sills, Brett Veach. No good with calculations. Good with calculations. I'm not good with calculations. Howie's good with calculations. So you mean to tell me you're going to give me, very nice, Bob. You mean to tell me you're going to give me all of your cohorts? Like I said, I'll go with calculations. Very nicely done, Bob. Sills, did you know Howie was a GM when he had the dream team at 21? Now we got another one this year. Dude, any general manager that has that kind of say and coaches and game plans and whatever and analytics, boy, man, that guy could never work for Jimmy Johnson. Absolutely not. Jimmy had a rule. Want to hear the rule? Immediately following the game, the doors were locked. Nobody could come in. It's only him and his team. No owner, no athletic director, no nothing. Jimmy addressed his team. And after he was done, he opened the doors. Nobody had any say to his guys, to his coaches. You didn't have general managers waiting at the front door. The guy's a glory whore. I mean it, man. He is. He's a glory whore. Dude, Jalen Hurts, I mean, Howie Roseman does more harm to his quarterback development than any general manager I've ever seen. Because no matter how much talent he puts around him, it's not going to matter. He's trying to jam a square peg in a round hole. He ain't that good. Let me ask you this. You think Howie Roseman would have ever signed a guy like Kurt Warner? And if Jalen got hurt, he would have started him. You think he would have started him? Oh, that's great. Oh, my God, that's fantastic. Howie reminds me of the guy on the Keebler cookie box. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Howie reminds me of the guy in the Keebler cookie box. Oh, God. Hey, be prepared. The Krauses are going to go to golf. Hey, clearly from Bob Lang. Now you're calling him the Keebler elf. Shit. Howie, hey, Keebler Roseman. Oh, my God. Holy shit. That's too funny, man. Jason Cole's going to join us in a couple minutes. We're going to go around the National Football League and get his thoughts, too. We're talking to Xander. That'll be at 4:30, so hopefully we're able to catch up with our friend Jason Cole here in a couple minutes here, too. Holy cow. Oh, man. By the way, we'll look at week 8 of the National Football League, too. Yeah, so as Big Sel says, 31 or 20 to 30 to 21. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game over the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think this is true here? By the way, let me get to Brian here. Joe Burrow has immaculate aura. Hurts' aura has been faded since the Super Bowl blunder. Can't say he fumbled. Oh, good grief. That hour and a half, I know for some of you, was painful. Let's see here. Good thing still sucks at picking Eagle games in 2024. No, I just picked the outcomes of things to happen. Ooh. You know, we got Halloween coming around the corner. Ooh. Big Seals told you 3 years ago what would happen. 3 years ago, he picked you going to the Super Bowl. Ooh. Then he told you your quarterback is not as good as you think, and he's a one-year wonder. Ooh. Oh, man. Get this. You're right. Senor gets the record right. I get the result right. How you doing? Teagan is hurt, may not play. Won't matter. Got a quarterback that makes everyone better. So what the F is Miami versus him? I'm going to get to that. I'll get to that. We got Jason Cole coming up here. Hopefully we're going to be able to run his ass down here. Didn't you say the Eagles? No, I said the Eagles are going to win 9 games this year. However you want to add it up. Front end, back end. You're going to win 9 games. And the Commanders are going to win the East. Right now, if the playoffs were to start, you'd be out of the playoff picture. So just checking here. Okay. Let's see here. Just checking. Dan the Ghoul. No, I had a bad guy. Oh, no. They flexed out the Bengals in the Eagle game for that Bears and Commanders game. Typical Friday Sills hyping up the Bengals. Get this. Why do I need to hype up Joe Burrow and the fact that he's 14 touch? Get this. This is what this dick's saying here. Hyping up the Bengals? Well, Joe Burrow's 14 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's second in the NFL in every statistic there is. And the offense is 9th. And the passing offense is 5th. Hyping what up? What are you talking about? Dan Sileo, your show is forcing the Eagles to take responsibility because you're exposing their stupidity. That's the common theme. Bob, I think we're screwed with the front office. Forrest, that's been my number one drumbeat since I started covering you. It was the way you do business. You do so many things right. Like you do 8 of the 10. Here, look. Do you do a nice job in pro personnel? Yeah. Do you have a great O-line coach? Best in the business. Do you have a winning record in the last 25 years? Yeah. Do you seemingly pick good coaches, head coaches? Yeah. What's the flaw? Well, it's the control. It's having too much control. Look, and what happens is you thin yourself by having all these things. And I'll show you where. Head coach is not good enough. Quarterback's not good enough. Can't have that dynamic. You just can't. Can't have that dynamic. It's a big weekend in the NFL when you look at the games this weekend. But before I get to Jason Cole here, you know what? I'm gonna go to Jason Cole. I know that Jason right now, he's on the move right now. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go to him, and we'll get as much as we possibly can. Don't forget, Xander's going to be with us at 4:30. Philly Godfather will be with us at 5:30. How you doing, Jason? Appreciate you doing it here, brother. Thank you so much on this Football Friday. Thanks for coming aboard.
You got it. It's actually World Series Friday for Dodger fans.
Ah, that's right. See, I'm a Yankee. I'm a New York state of mind kind of guy, so I'm more of a New York guy.
Yeah, well, you can. Yeah, I love LA, baby.
All right, Jason, I'm gonna tell you something here. What Greg Cosell said about Jalen Hurts, and you tell me if you subscribe to it. He said that he is struggling with making the simple throws. He's regressed. He is not a guy right now, for whatever reason, is seeing the simple throws. He's not playing well. And he said it's not sustainable. Since the start of 2003, it's not been the same guy that he was in 22. You think that shines off him right now? Do you think they're starting the league can catch up with a quarterback like Hurts right now? And do you think there's some concern in Philadelphia? He had 15 attempts or 14 attempts last week. You can't sustain that if you're going to go to try to win a Super Bowl.
No, but I'm not worried about 1 week. I mean, they won one of those games where they made it easy. You have to have a certain number of games during the season that aren't like high wire acts. Like when you make every week a high wire act, I think that your team gets mentally exhausted. Like sometimes they're just weeks say, hey, we got an 18-point lead. We're cruising. We're okay. Like just run the ball out. Don't worry about it. So, look, Jalen Hurts was never going to be a precision passer. He was going to be a guy who's going to run enough to make the defense account for him. He's going to be a better decision maker than you thought, and a guy who was going to get better over time, especially if you kept the same offense and the same offensive coordinator, and they haven't done that. Familiarity is important for any quarterback, but particularly for a guy who's never been a 1, 2, 3, the ball's gone, right? Like, that's not his game, and it never has been his game. That's why Lamar Jackson is still not that guy. He's better at it than he used to be, because what did Baltimore do? They've had 2 offensive coordinators in his entire career, and essentially the same system. So they're calling the same stuff, and he's working on things, and he's getting better at it. So I hear what Cosell's saying, and I'm not saying it is wrong, but this is what comes with Jalen Hurts. Like, this is the player that you got, and you have to construct a team around him so that you're not asking him to play like that precision passer. And I'm always amused. Like, I talked to some 49ers people like earlier this season, and it's like all offseason Kyle Shanahan was complaining about, we signed Deebo Samuel, and he's not a precision route runner. It's like, you knew that he wasn't a precision route runner when you gave him all the money. That's not his game. But every time you give a guy money, you expect he's going to all of a sudden be perfect. And he's not. He's the same guy you gave the money to, and you got to deal with the faults.
Jason, Joe Burrow, do you think he finishes his prime years of quarterbacking in Cincinnati?
Do I think he is what?
He finishes his prime years in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, there's one thing you can say with pretty strong assurity, is that Mike Brown, when he has a quarterback, makes sure he keeps the quarterback. Carson Palmer, he had. Andy Dalton, not a great player, but he kept him. I mean, they always make sure that they keep, Boomer, they keep the quarterback. They make sure that they have that guy. It's not the most evolved organization in the world, but they're also not stupid.
Matthew Stafford was insane last night. And I'll tell you something, when he has talent around him like that, and you put Puka Nacua and you put Cooper Rush out there, 4 touchdowns last night. He was spinning that ball.
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. You put those 2 guys out there last night. His progression reading was absolutely insane. His head was on a swivel. He's just going like this. And as a defensive guy, Jason, that's impossible to defend when you're watching a guy play football like that. Are you now in a position to say that you think the Rams can be some type of contender or be a scary team in the NFC?
Well, they can be, because that division is so bad, right? So, the 49ers have come back to the pack so drastically because of the injuries that they have, right? And Seattle's not very good. Arizona's not very good. They're in transition. So you take your shot. You get hot. Like yesterday happens, and you get hot in that division. You sneak your way into 9-8 or 10-7. You might win it, or you might even win it with an 8-9 record. That division is that bad. Now, I still think San Francisco gets its act together and wins the division, and only one team out of that division is going to make it. But yeah, I think that's a winnable division. It's probably the second worst division in the league right now. And the NFC East is, I think, the worst division in the league. Maybe the NFC South. Maybe the South, but the East, none of those teams are playing good football right now. Even Washington, as exciting and fun as they are, they're not playing particularly good football. They're playing average football, but they're fun.
I'll ask you a question, because I asked you this about MVP before, so I'll ask you to this point here on October 25th. In a horse race, who's got the lead at the first, or I would say, the first quarter poll here, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
I haven't looked at Josh the last couple of weeks. Josh opened the season stronger than Lamar because of a couple of losses, and things like if Lamar hits the play to Likely in the opener, it's you're talking about something a little bit different. Josh got off to a better start. Lamar's been better the last 3 weeks. So yeah, those two. I still come back to if the running back breaks Dickerson's record.
2105.
Right. I know it's 17 games. But if Derrick Henry goes over 2,100 yards, and look, Lamar Jackson, all respect to Lamar Jackson, don't get me wrong, but having that dude next to you makes your job so much easier. And again, I come back to the best years that Russell Wilson really ever had were when he had Marshawn Lynch, and vice versa. Marshawn Lynch was best when he was next to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was best when he was next to Marshawn Lynch, because those guys played off of each other. And, go back to remember Vince Young. When Vince Young still looked decent, and because he had Chris Johnson next to him getting 2,000. But Derrick Henry is a better running back than Chris Johnson will ever be.
Jason, check this out. So I went back and looked, and I don't know why, but you mentioned it. Derrick Henry looks like he's 25 years old. He's on pace right now for the like almost getting to 2105. He's right there he's like 21. He's like 2095 or something, whatever it is, on pace right now, and he's on pace for 22 touchdowns. In your opinion, in the last 20 years, who would you take, Adrian Peterson or him?
Adrian Peterson at the height of his
really
powers.
Wow, this guy,
because Adrian.
But he's a 300. He's a 350 carry guy. Also, I mean, he leads the NFL every year. He's one of them old school guys like Dickerson. Like so you said,
and AD was the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't quite as violent, not quite as violent a runner. But remember his 2,000-yard year coming off of a torn ACL. From 2000, he went 2K because I remember I was in this fantasy football league, and I don't play a lot of fantasy football, so I just play like one league a year. I was in this one league, and I took Adrian Peterson in the second round. Everybody's like laughing at me, going, "Oh, he's not going to be any good for like 3 weeks." And so I'm like, "Okay, I'll take the guy who's one of the greatest all time and a driven, motivated guy who works his butt off." And he goes for 2K, and I win the league going away. Like, that's just, some guys are like that. And so Adrian Peterson was a better running back than Derrick Henry, but we are talking about very, very minute shades of gray.
Couple last questions for you. Do you think the Dallas Cowboy job is a good coaching job if Mike McCarthy ends up getting fired?
No. It's not. The only time it's ever been a good coaching job is when Parcells was there and he had leverage over Jerry. It's the same thing we talked about this weeks ago. When your owner is doing press conferences every single week immediately after the game, and those press conferences are paid attention to more than the head coach.
They're revealing too on someone how he feels about the way and the direction of the team, and it's not just like. You know how a lot of owners and GMs and coaches don't really give you a lot at those press conferences? Jerry kind of gives you red meat at those press conferences because he speaks his mind.
Oh, it's easy. He's not really fooling you. I mean, yeah, sometimes he's playing some mind games with some people and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that, like, when you're the head coach of the Cowboys, you're not really like head coach. The word head is not there. You're just a coach. You're just there. You're there for Jerry's amusement. You are not there to really run the team because everybody's listening to the owner and what the owner says, not the coach.
I got two last ones here for you. The Niner Cowboy game.
Mm-hmm.
The loser, is their season over?
No, not necessarily. I mean, again, because the 49ers, both are in bad divisions. So you can get hot and get something together. I still think the 49ers have enough depth. They're going to get McCaffrey back. They're going to get Debo back. The only two guys they've lost are, Ayuk and Hargrave. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but
They're going to get those guys back. I think they're going to right the ship, and they're again going to be a 10-7 team when it's all said and done. Dallas, I mean, they're just so bad on defense. They're so weak that it's hard for me to imagine them really getting hot. But the division is still not great. I mean, Washington is the hottest team in the division. We'll see how long it lasts. Philly is still there, which I think has, the best alignment of stars if they can get going. The defense is just a problem, and Jalen is Jalen. And that leaves you with the Giants, and the Giants are just a mess right now. They're waiting for Belichick to take the job.
Completely agree. If you want to comment on this, I get it. If you don't, I also get it, because you're one of the 50 men that are in that room. We had Eric Allen on the other day with us, and I brought up the fact that I go, presenters. I said to him, I go, and I don't want you to take a shot at Paul Domowitz. It's not what I'm doing here. I'm not asking you that here, because I was talking to Marcus Hayes the other day from the Inquirer about this, and he had a completely different opinion about it, and he understood kind of Paul's opinion. My point, and I asked Eric, I go, do you think Paul represents you, and do you think he gives you a good speech for consideration to the Hall of Fame? And in so many words, he said no. Now,
Eric said that?
Yeah, Eric said that. Why do you have a problem with him saying that?
When was Eric in the room?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, certainly Paul's done some.
He's made the finalist list now. He's on the finalist list. So
the linebacker Sam Mills. A pretty good convincing argument there. The safety, pretty convincing arguments. Paul does a really good job. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Look, Eric can
be bitter? Can Eric be bitter that it's taken this long and that the process is frustrating?
I don't blame any guy who's gone through the process this much and is bitter. I understand it. I saw John Lynch go for 8 years not getting in. And I saw the look on his face year after year after year. And by year 7 or 8, it looked like he was waiting to dodge bullets. Like he was wincing in pain, because this is so hard to go through. So I respect where Eric Allen's coming from. But sometimes when guys are going through it, they flail at people who are trying their hardest to get you in, right? And, trying to blame Paul Domowitz for you not getting in is missing the point. Like, it just happens. It's really, really hard. And Domo's done some pretty damn good work and pretty representative speeches for other guys, and it's worked. It just hasn't worked for Eric Allen. And and again, I understand his bitterness. I understand the hurt. I understand the pain. He put his life into this game. It's important to him. And I'm glad it's important to him, because that means it's important to everybody who gets out there and plays. I would just say, take a step back for a second and we understand there are a lot of people fighting for you. And Paul Domowitz is fighting for Eric Allen. I know that is true. Is it working right now? The answer is no. But that's not because of Paul. It's because look at the other 14 guys who are on the list every year. This crap is hard. It's really, really, really hard.
Jason, do you have a problem at all in any way with the process? Because some of the older guys now, I mean, again, like you said, his attitude was this. Well, look what you have now. You have a lot of coaching tree things. You have the Tony Dungy guys with the Bucks. The Belichick guys are going to be more front and center. Look at the Cowboy guys. And he says that it kind of goes down the line of coaching trees a little bit at times. And then you're looking at, a guy like him who didn't win a championship. He goes, I get it. I know that that's a major part of it. But he goes, but I check off every other box. Is there a part of the process that you have a problem with also? Or do you think, again, like you said, it really just matters who's those final 14 or 15 guys that are on that list that you have to look at? I mean, it really does count.
By far and away, the biggest issue in anybody getting into the Hall of Fame is, what are you up against? It's hard. You're up against other great players. Is the process flawed? Yes. Is every single possible process that you can possibly come up with, whether it's baseball writers, the Heisman Trophy, let's go on down the line. You know, I hear people go, oh, only X players should vote. You know how many X players don't pay attention to football? Don't watch the games at all. Only Hall of Famers should vote. If only Hall of Famers voted, nobody would ever get in, because they all think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. All right? Only this guy should vote. Really? That's how, like, there's no process that's perfect. You can poke holes in any process that you come up with. No question about it. In any election. Because here's the biggest problem. It's human. This is not stat-based where we put the numbers into a computer and spit it back out that this is what a Hall of Famer is. It's just not. And so, yeah, does it help? Like, if you're one of the Tampa Bay Bucks and you got Ira Kaufman doing an introductory speech for you, you got a pretty good shot. Okay? I'm not going to but Paul Domowitch is really good too. Okay? And he does his homework and he does his research, and he handles things right politically. So yeah, every single process is flawed, and you can point at, this guy's there and this guy's there and that guy. And I just tell you this, the 50 people who are in that room are trying really hard to get it right. And no matter what we do, absolutely every single year we get it wrong. According to somebody.
Jason, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one name before I get you out of here. I made this comment the other day, you being a Angelinian. I'll ask you this.
Angelino.
My daughter's an Angelino too, by the way.
Right.
I said that Fernando Valenzuela was the most important. Now, this is an important distinction. Los Angeles Dodger of all time. His significance and his influence is the most significant. Now, Robinson's the most important, but the reason I say Fernando is because of Chavez Ravine. They were displacing all the Mexican Americans from that place to build that stadium. They were kicking all those people out. Mexicans did not endear or embrace the Dodgers when they first moved there. And all of a sudden in 1981, here this kid comes up from the same place as El Chapo in Mexico, and he's on the mound. And he puts together one of the greatest starts in any history of all time. And Fernando Mania, and for me, it means a lot to me because I had a chance to meet him and know him. I've never seen anything like it to this day. It was like the Bird Fidrich, but it lasted longer. Do you agree that he was one of the most important Los Angeles athletes of all time, especially for the Dodgers?
Yeah, he's not Koufax or even really Drysdale.
I didn't say the best player.
I'm not, but even influence-wise, because those guys established the greater audience. Now,
the fan base.
They established the greater fan base. Those guys got people hyped up and excited about the Dodgers when they first got there, which was really important, okay? And why the Dodgers took off. Same thing with the Lakers, because the Lakers come in, they got Baylor and West, and like they just kind of take off in a way that was different than the Rams who preceded them, right? But from a healing of wounds politically between the Dodgers, the city, and the Mexican-American community, there's no question that Fernando Valenzuela did a lot to help and get the Mexican-American community to embrace the Dodgers after a lot of hurt. Now that, we are talking about two different eras. And so, a lot of the younger Mexican Americans who weren't aware of what happened when, people in Chavez Ravine were displaced, they didn't relate to it as well. It's sort of like talking to people in Miami. If you're talking about to 20-year-old Cubans, it's a very different feeling about Castro than it is.
Oh, yeah.
About, I mean, that's time. Time changes perspective. But there's no question that, all of a sudden the Mexican American community had a really true big time star on the mound that they could celebrate. So yeah, he's important. He's important in a lot of ways. But the bottom line is Fernando was just fun.
Oh,
he was at a time when you had Magic on the court for the Lakers, and that's fun, right? Man. The one thing that I always said, I'm a Lakers fan and I appreciate Kobe Bryant, but it was hard to have warm feelings about Kobe Bryant because he was a tough guy to like by his own admission. He had an edge to him. Whereas, if you grew up and you were in high school and Magic Johnson is playing, that's, my senior year is his first year with Lakers. Oh my God. Or if you're going out and you want to pretend that you're throwing a baseball like Fernando and you're flipping your eyes to the sky as you're about to deliver it, that stuff's just fun. It's like watching Louis Tiant with the Red Sox when he used to turn his back to the batter, right? There's just guys who have flair. There are guys who have put on a show. And he put on a show. And that's part of what this is. Sports is an entertainment thing, and you want guys who, you want guys who are great. That's the first thing. But you also want guys who are having fun and putting on a show for you too. That. Hey, there's a little bit of that.
Hey, Jace. So Dick Enberg was a close friend of mine, and we were in Los Angeles at the time. So Chick Hearn was still calling. This is years ago. Was still calling games for the Lakers, and all of a sudden, here comes Vince Scully. And these three guys are in the room, and you're like, wow, this is broadcasting royalty, this and that. Then Fernando walked in. You swear that this guy had a halo over his head because the entire room, everyone went like this, Fernando's here. And I know for some people that are too young, there's that Tiger thing, and, there's Namath kind of thing, and there's this Tyson thing, when certain guys roll into the room.
Montana.
Yeah.
Certain guys walk
when Fernando walked, one of those guys walks in the room, the whole place, you can feel the air go to one side of the room. And we're all sitting there, and here comes Scully going, oh, my God, here's Fernando. And him saying, oh, my God, here's Fernando. Now, of course, he loved Koufax, who's the greatest Los Angeles Dodger of all time. But Fernando was just one of those guys. You had to be around it. Like you were when you were a kid, like Magic, when you're in the room like that. And I'm glad they're honoring him tonight because you see Dodger Stadium, they've got it all duped up in 34. And I think so much of him, Fernando Valenzuela.
Again, it unfortunately didn't last as long as you wish it could have. Because his body
never really does it?
No, it never does. But he was also never really the most athletic guy in the world. That kind of thing. He's built a little bit. He's kind of built a little bit more like me and you. But and you're throwing a screwball, and it's tough on your arm and stuff like that. But for a little while, he's just appointment television, man. If Fernando's pitching, you're like, I gotta watch this. Just like. I remember I wasn't even an Angels fan. I didn't like the Angels. I couldn't care less. But Nolan Ryan's throwing. And I know that people think, oh, he didn't throw that hard compared. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But he threw 9 innings of 90 plus every week. People don't understand the velocity and the spin and the rise on the fastball, how dominant he was, because he wasn't pitching 4 innings.
Wait a minute, Jason. He may not have. He just had 7 no-hitters. I don't know. The next closest guy is Koufax with 4. Okay. He just had 7, and he threw them when he was 45.
He's completely and totally amazing. But there were times you would just watch Nolan Ryan, you just sit there because you wanted to see how the catcher reacted Like, did the catcher have to jump out of his stance because he threw a four-seamer that just rose right up? Like, it was just crazy stuff. Like, I mean, there are guys who are like that who are just electric and fun. Fernando was electric and fun.
Absolutely.
He took the show beyond just the game.
Absolutely. Jason, thank you so much for spending time with us, man. Have a great football weekend. We'll catch up soon. Thank you, brother.
All right, dude. Talk to you later.
That is our Hall of Fame voter. Interesting. Different spin on Paul Domowitz. You said Paul got Sam Mills in. I can't believe Sam Mills became a Hall of Famer. Sam Mills, and I'm guessing that Paul presented Sam Mills because of the Philadelphia Star connection, which means that Paul Domowitz had to have covered Vic Fangio when Vic was a coach there with the Stars. That was a heck of a foot. I'll make a point to you. That Philadelphia Stars team probably could have beat some of those Eagle teams back in the day. They were good. They had a lot of talent on that team. Kelvin Bryant was a great running back that they had. They had great defensive football players like Sam Mills. Ken Hall was the center who's now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, they had some really good football players on that Philadelphia Stars team. Jim Mora coached the team, multiple championships too. Philadelphia Star of the original USFL, not the stuff you see now. The stuff you see now with the UFL and the XFL having combined, that league is very good. But is that league what that USFL was with Reggie White, Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, and all them players? No way. Was never in the room. By the way, the National Football League was so afraid of that league because they were getting all those premier players out of college. Mike Rozier. I mean, they were getting all of those guys out of the college ranks, and they were paying them significantly. I got sent up to Donald Trump when he owned the New Jersey, New York Knights. I was either going to sign there or with the Orlando Renegade. Dick Lee Corso was the head coach and general manager of the team when they had that Orlando Renegade team. And I told Jimmy Johnson, I was thinking of signing with them because they had offered me significant money. And someone said, you should come back one more year. The league folded the following year. And I'm glad I did that because I did go up and visit Trump and those guys at Trump Tower when he owned the New Jersey, New York Knights. Irv Eatman was a spectacular offensive lineman that played on those Philadelphia Star teams. That Stars team was good. He was the linebacker coach in New Orleans. When he was there, okay, thank you, man. I mean, that's right. So Vic went to New Orleans and was the linebacker coach when Moore went to New Orleans. Okay. When Jim got the job in the mid-'80s, he was in the league when I was in the league then. That's right. That's why Trump hates the NFL. He owned the New Jersey Generals. Yeah, and personally, and I'll say this to you, Chuck, Donald Trump ended the original USFL. If it wasn't for his over-the-top spending, that league would have continued. The Tampa Bay or the Bandits were an outstanding team. There were a lot of great teams in that league, man. The Michigan Panthers. I mean, I remember Marcus Dupree getting signed there. I can't tell you how close I was to going there. I went and talked to Andy Robustelli about it. I was going to go and play at the USFL, and I was either going to play in New Jersey, New York for the Generals, or I was going to play with the Renegades. So, yeah, no. And Chuck, that's one of the reasons they didn't let him buy the Buffalo Bills. He made an offer to buy the Bills, and they didn't go with him. They went with the tennis chick's father, and he ended up getting the Buffalo Bills. Steve Young, Warren Moon, Doug Williams. That's right. They all played in that league. That league was sensational. That's right. Sam Mills went to Montclair State, Division III. What a climb that is. You go from Division III to going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right. I got to take a timeout. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour at 4:30. Also, Philly Godfather, you want to make some money? He's back. That'll be at 5:30. Hit the like button. Another topic here on a Football Friday. We'll take a look also at week 8 of the NFL. We still got 3 topics plus talking about Nick's comments this morning. Hit that like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Bill's National Football Show here on a Football Friday and also a World Series Friday, Game 1. Please hit the like button. Xander Krause will join us at the bottom of the hour, and it is Pagula. His daughter is a heck of a tennis player, and I think he's a heck of an owner. They're going to keep the Bills in Buffalo. They're going to get a new stadium. I had a chance to go up there and play when I was with the Lions. It's truly one of the greatest fan bases I've ever been around. I mean, as much as people revere the Eagle fans or the Patriot fans, Steeler fans, Packer fans, Niner fans, that Buffalo Bill fan base is as good as it gets. They are passionate. They love that team. They embrace those players. You play in Buffalo. Jim Kelly told me this. He never wanted to play in Buffalo, man. He wanted to stick with the Houston Gamblers. He did not want to go up there. He said, no way. Remember, they wanted him. They had his rights. He did not want to go and play there. Absolutely not. Remember, they drafted him. 83 draft. He's part of it. Kelly didn't want to go. He said, no way. I'd rather be a Houston Gambler my entire time. Well, the league folded. He goes up there. He lives there now. the PA kid who lives there in Buffalo, New York, because the fans embraced him so much, how much love he has for the fan base. Jim hated the place. He gets up there, man. It's where he put his roots down. His kids are raised up there. He loves the Buffalo area. You know, he's a Western Pennsylvania kid, and he was supposed to go to Penn State, but he came down to Miami with us. And Paterno wanted to make him a linebacker because he's really a big, or was a big dude. And Joe Paterno had the propensity of turning guys that were superstar athletes into linebackers, and it was known as linebacker U. And once again, too, you know, as much respect as I have for the Penn State program, I don't as much now because of the disgrace that you make of Joe Paterno's name. I know what some of you are saying. I'm talking football here. I'm not a moralist. That stuff has nothing to do with me. I don't tie that shit in. I'm talking football. I'm not talking about Father of the Year or Moralist of the Year. I'm talking about Joe Paterno's legacy as a football coach. Two things can happen. He stayed too long. You stay too long, you get villainized. You do certain things that are wrong in your program. All the great ones do. You can't stay in a job too long like that, have that kind of power, and not think somebody in your organization is going to do something to upset the apple cart and tarnish the name and the reputation of Penn State. Penn State today, Penn State and Saquon Barkley, you don't know who Penn State is because of James Franklin. James Franklin's a nobody. You know Penn State because of Joe Paterno. It is staying Philly D. I'm not saying that that's not true. It is. It's totally. Barkley's not known because of James Franklin. He's known because of Joe Paterno. Well, Sills, wait, James Franklin coached him. So? You know Notre Dame because of Rockne, not because of Coach Freeman there, or because Brian Kelly coached there, maybe Parsegian and some of those other names like that. But Woody Hayes, you think you know Ohio State because of Ryan Day? You know him because of Woody. You think you know Michigan because of Jim Harbaugh? Harbaugh played for Bo. I mean, Joe Paterno, I told you, some of you guys, and some of you are new here, and I know Yale and some of you guys like Crowley, I've said the story. We play in that national title game. 100 million people, or excuse me, 100 million people watched that game that night. It was the first national title game of its kind. They moved it to the second. I'm flying back to LaGuardia. My friends were going to pick me up. I'm waiting in the airport in Tempe. And Joe Paterno's sitting there. I played so great. So great. And I'm still waiting for my soundbite where my Tony Weiss compared me to Millen and Clark, two great players that Joe Paterno had. But, hey, I know Xander's busy. But anyway, that's when he said the comment. That's why it means something to me, because when I was there, he came right up to me and he goes, hey, man, you two guys are the best players I've had to go against since I had Millen and Clark. And I was like, that's great, coach. We lost. He goes, well, I wanted you to come to Penn State. I go, no, you didn't. You told me I'd never make it because you have 3.4.0 students here. He goes, okay, so maybe I didn't. But then he would go on to tell Jimmy that how great a player he thought I was. And I always revered him for that. He goes, you're really great. One of the great players I've ever played against. And I was like, thank you, coach. And he wrote about it. And so he kind of always meant something to me. Even in my worst moment, it was my birthday too, January 3rd. Okay? Yeah, look at Xander. Yeah. Hang on here. This kid does so much for me, man. I'm only busting his stones. Hey. So Yeah, no, man. I have great respect for Joe, but when somebody came to me and told me, and I'll tell you how I knew something was freaky with Jerry Sandusky. Sandusky came to my house, and he was recruiting me. Then he came and recruited me with my coach, Joe Anslow, in Stamford, Connecticut. And they wanted me to take a visit. And I don't think I ever I know I didn't take a visit to Penn State because I went to Pitt. I took a visit to Pitt. And I thought he was weird, but, he's considered one of the greatest defensive coaches of all time. He came to my high school and he came to my house. My grandpa liked him. Then Joe Paterno showed up at my high school and started recruiting me. The guy who played offensive tackle at my high school went to Pitt, and Coach Paterno was trying to get me to go to Penn State. My grandfather wanted me to go to Penn State because he's an Italian guy, and he looked like my Uncle Bucky. And I told the story. He's walking down to my friends are sitting there. We're all sitting there outside the cafeteria, and I see my uncle coming at me, and I go, "Why is my Uncle Bucky here?" The guy looked over at me, goes, "It's Joe Paterno, numbnuts." I'm like, well, who's he here for? He goes, "Who do you think he's here for?" And so Paterno comes walking. He goes, "Come here." So he takes me around. We start talking about going to Penn State. And you know what I told him? I was such a dumbass. "Well, Coach, you don't put the name on the back of your jerseys and you wear black shoes." Talk about stupid shit to say to him. "You care about that stuff?" I go, "Well, I like to see my family see my family name on my jersey, but those black shoes got to go, man. I mean, it looked like Jim Thorpe shoes." I'm saying this. Not a good look. Yeah. Saying a quarterback can't execute basic concepts is damning, you think? Hey, Xander, have I missed some super chats while the interview was going on also? I want to make sure we hit that because I thought we had some here. Can't say the coach is not enough. We do not know that because Bill couldn't do it with Cam. It's the play style. Nick hasn't had a fair chance. Nick's never going to get a fair chance. Analytics runs it. Go ahead, John. Saying a quarterback can't execute basic concepts is damning, without a doubt. Go ahead, Xander. I'm sorry. Howie Vision is paying a top dollar for two number one wideouts, a running back, hired a pro-style OC, but also paying top dollar for an RPO quarterback who can't read defenses or run pro offenses. Make that make sense. Hey, do me a favor, Gunner. Bring that up when Xander's on. Hey, bring that up when Xander's on. You get 2 1s, top flight OC. You forgot the top flight O-line. T. Higgins is hurt, might not play. You think that's going to matter with Joe Burrow? Remember, Joe Burrow is a Bugatti. Jalen Hurts is a tricycle. Okay? There lies the difference. You know that Bugatti where you got the umbrella in the door? Have you ever seen like a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow? You know, Xander, the Krause family has 7 of them. And, you know, in the door, they've got like umbrellas. And the leather is handmade. Pininfarina does the painting job on all the Bentleys and like all the Ferraris and Pininfarina. Big Sills knows a little bit about high-end cars just like the Krauses do. You know, they have yachts and Silver Shadows and such. So me and you are just people, and I'm man of the people here. That's what we have here. And so that's kind of what you're going to see on Sunday here. Joe Burrow is a Bugatti. And your guy, the little fella, you know, he's like the car, the Cube. He's like the Cube, right? Stills, Hertz is a Honda Civic. Oh, hey, here's Philly. Hey, Stills, maybe Josh Allen needs to bleach his hair white. How you doing? Tank Dell or Terry McLaurin in fantasy? Against Chicago in the secondary? I'll take Terry. Hertz is a Yugo. Hertz is a is a Chevette. Oh, I thought I was thinking that thing with, yeah, if you had to make a comparison in cars to Hertz, I'll read them. Hertz is a Ford Pinto. Okay. He's a Daewoo. Hertz is a Chevette. Hertz is a fine-ass Alfa Romero. That's a cheap man's version, dog, of a Ferrari. Hertz is a Chevy Blazer. Wait a minute. He's a Chevy Cavalier. Oh, man. Look at this. He's a Chevy Cavalier. I like it. He's a Geo Metro. Holy shit. Look at Daniel. I have a Honda Civic Sports. It's great. It's a great, reliable car. Unfortunately, your car's more reliable than the quarterback in Philly. Holy shit. John McMullen was nails on today. Before I get Xander Krause on here, you can learn a lot by that nice, smooth, with etiquette delivery of John F. McMullen. You learn a lot. John said this. Does it really matter who the coordinator is? That's Kellen's offense. The quarterback's the guy. So Xander was right the other day. It is Jalen Hurts' offense. The only problem is this guy can execute very few things. But like Pumper says here, he can squat 600 pounds. All that said, don't forget on Sunday, pregame, halftime, postgame, our legendary Isuzu. Hurts is a Zuzu. The man, the myth, the co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Xander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills?
How you doing there? How's it going there, man, on this Football Friday?
I'm good, man. I'm in a new location right now, so hopefully my
you look
everything
good.
look good, sounds good.
Yeah, you look clear, dog.
Good.
Oh, hey, folks, he must be on the French Riviera with, that's where he's at right now because,
No, I'm at my girlfriend's house. But
Hey,
I
wait
am I don't know why you keep putting out this narrative, I drive a nice used pickup truck.
By the way, I love his truck too.
They only, I thought my truck was big until I had big sills in the front seat. I'm like, holy shit, I need a custom make this seat. Move that sucker back a little bit.
Xander probably thought he needed like an engine lift.
Well, my truck is pretty spacious. Normally I have my girlfriend riding passenger who is not the size of Big Sills, obviously. And he got in there. The only trust fund I come from is a trust fund of love, Big Sills. My family is full of love. And we love each other hard, and my siblings love one another hard. That's the only thing we got. And I'll take that over anything, my friend.
No question about it, dog. Will you take it over a franchise quarterback?
No. Hey, listen. I'm not as out.
I thought John said some great stuff today.
Listen,
man.
John said some good stuff. Not everything I agree with. I think he's but I do appreciate the rational approach that he had of, he's not ready to count him out just yet. But listen, I mean, look, the problems are there, right? I mean, the problems don't exist. They are there, and they are there for anybody that wants to see them. Now, can we overcome them? I think that's a better question, And the one thing I'd push back in your whole hour and a half show open that you had today, the one pushback I would have on you would be like, well, why can't Jalen improve? Like, I understand what you're saying, that at year 5, typically people are going to be who they are. And I get that. But I watched Baker Mayfield improve. I watched Geno Smith improve. I watched Lamar Jackson. That dude damn near improves every single snap, for crying out loud, Lamar Jackson. I watched dudes improve. I mean, look at Sam Darnold, right? I mean, look at some of the quarterbacks around the league right now that have made a resurgence. And, I don't think Jalen has any work ethic problem. I don't think Jalen doesn't want to commit. Now, does he lack some maybe inherent skills? Yeah, I think that's probably possible. I think Baker Mayfield does too. I think Geno Smith does too. I think Darnold does too, right? And that's where I would say I'd like to give him patience. Now, where you bring up the right point back to me is, dude, you got the guys on the full contract. Geno Smith never got the big contract. Baker Mayfield never got the big contract until he proved it. I get that. And what did you call it? Breastfeeding or something?
Yeah. I said, you want to breastfeed the guy for 12 weeks in the ground game.
So I get
him
that.
Going there.
I get that, but I think if the contract wasn't tied to him, which it is, you can't get rid of that. I think there'd be more lenience with allowing him to grow a little bit. But look, the reality is, you're right. He's paid, he's under contract, and he's got to perform. There's no doubt about that.
Couple things that you said there, though, and I think you can answer your own commentary there with what you said. Okay, does he get the proper coaching? Well, I pointed out to you when he only had really good coaching that fit his skill set. Outside of that, he's 17-14. When he's had great coaching around him, like you see with Darnold now with Kevin O'Neill or Kevin O'Donnell up there, you see what's going on with Todd Monken and how Baltimore coaches him.
Right.
There's great coaching there. You look, by the way, in the right scheme, they run 12 personnel there. They don't run. I mean, I that was pointed out by Greg Cosell, and I'm like, why in the world would they run 3 wideout set when the guy can't for 3 years find a third wide receiver, and he hasn't for 3 years, going on now 4 years?
Yeah.
Why have that position on the field when it's a non-factor in anything they do?
Well, do they have the wrong tight end too then? I mean, Calcaterra is nice in the passing game, but he can't block for shit.
Okay, well, eliminate either the tight end or the third wideout. I mean, you have to help.
Yeah.
By the way,
I mean, look, you bring up a good point, but here's the thing, right? If you're going to
go
issue
there.
No, I know. I get what you're saying, but here's my pushback. Why do you want to take the third receiver off the field? Because Jalen doesn't find him. Okay, great. So if you're going to go to a 2 tight end set, don't you want the tight end to have to bring a skill set to the table that's not receiving the ball?
No, I don't want another tight end. I want a fullback like they do in Baltimore.
Okay. What's that called?
12 personnel.
I thought 12 personnel was 1 running back, 2 tight ends. No?
I want to have 2 wideouts. Oh, that's
2
11
wideouts,
personnel.
a tight end,
That's
and a
11
fullback.
personnel. My bad. Okay.
11 personnel. Right.
11
Okay.
personnel. My bad.
Yeah.
I want them to have a fullback back there, because why? If you're a running team, don't you want to have the skill set fit the quarterback and the running back?
They don't want to be a running team, though. I mean, they really don't. By the way, just a quick update, and we'll get into what you just said. It feels like a good time to plug the shirt I'm wearing, because Mekhi Becton has been ruled out of the game. So that means you're going to have Tyler Steen in there, and you're going to have Fred Johnson in there. And I got on the Stout U shirt today.
Oh, I like it.
That? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it.
I like that. That's cool. I like it.
So I got the Stout U shirt on today, hoping that this team, big shout out to Abe. I think Abe's in the chat right now. Abe helped me with that design. So that's pretty fresh, isn't it?
Absolutely. But
nice
Xander,
long
guess what
sleeve
else
black,
the fullback
black
does?
Stout U.
Guess what else the fullback does? It creates max protection for the quarterback as well. And you can allow the running back to get out in the flat. What's the couple things? Dude, just look at the schematics of the offense that doesn't fit him. And John brought it up perfectly today. Dude, the thing that's the same, it is the Kellen. You're right, and he's right. It is Jalen Hurts' offense, because you know why? Kellen Moore only sees his limit. He sees his skill is limited. He doesn't run a particularly pro-style offense. How come last night Matthew Stafford gets 2-star players back? This guy looks like Matthew Stafford and throws for 4 touchdowns. You get your guys back, you throw 14 passes. And you take it out of the hands of the guy.
I mean, look, that's one of those things where I don't have a pushback on that. I mean, they're just different players, and it's very obvious when you see something like that, right? You see Matthew Stafford get back receivers, and I mean, boy, did he look good. I mean, I was laughing last night watching that game because, we had the conversation yesterday, and we brought up Matthew Stafford, and we were talking about what he would do. And I was looking at his stats, and I'm like, boy, he's got, 3 touchdown passes in like 5 or 6 games? Now, last night he had 4, and I'm like, God damn, Matthew Stafford gets his weapons back, and you can see what he can do. But no, I was laughing about that. But look,
his head was on a spit going like this. He was on a swivel. And I'm
Here's
like,
let me ask you.
You can't defend that.
I know. Let me ask you a question. And everybody in the chat, I'd like you to check in as well, because I know we have a lot of people in there who are mixed, right, on Jalen Hurts, and some don't like him, some love him, some are in the middle on him, some are probably where I am, which is you're hopeful he can be better, but you're not sure if he can be. Do you believe if he had the right coaching, he could be a great player, great quarterback?
Explain and
Okay,
expand on
I'll
that.
explain. Do you believe if he was coached like Lamar Jackson,
Yeah,
he could have
yes.
an impact
Yes.
like Lamar Jackson, or does he
Yes.
lack the skill set to even
No.
be that?
No.
Okay.
No.
I struggle with that because, you
If
watch
you put
Lamar.
him in Baltimore, they'd win as many games. With
Oh.
Derek,
You think Jalen Hurts would win as many games in Baltimore as Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
I do not. I cannot agree on that.
because you have John Harbaugh, you have Todd Monken, and they would win a ton of football games in that. One thing you can't dismiss, Hurts' winning record. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, look, we had a Bengals guy on last night on the This Week in Pro Football, guy who covers the Bengals for the Bengals, and it was actually interesting because he's like, all those
He
quarterbacks
wins.
in 2020, Jalen wins the most.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm like, yeah, I mean,
why would he win in Baltimore
it's a
then?
good point. You can't take the winning away from him
Why,
right
why
now.
would he?
It's
Why
more
would
of
he
a
not
cut.
win in Baltimore then?
That's a fair point. I mean, it's a fair point.
Now look, here's the
I
problem.
don't know.
that
I have a
you
hard
have.
time saying that Jalen can be.
Well,
what
no, I
Lamar
don't
is.
think he'd be.
Yeah.
I think his passing would be in the same conversation with. Hey, remember something? Until they went to this new offensive set where they went to only two personnel, went the wide receivers. Remember something? His year he won his first MVP. Xander, he threw for 3,100 yards. Then the following season that he won another one a year ago, he threw for 3,700 yards. We're not talking about prolific numbers in the passing.
Yeah, I know, but dude, the biggest. Well, no, I agree because you bring up a good point where he would win. I mean, he's won everywhere he's been, right?
He would win.
I mean, the dude's won everywhere he's been. So yeah, you're right, he'd win. But here's my biggest hurdle right now with this conversation is I watched Lamar Jackson, and I just said it earlier. It literally looks like the guy improves every series. Even since he got paid, right? Now all of a sudden he's throwing the ball well again. And you're like, Lamar keeps adding to his game.
Yeah, but Henry's helping a lot of this.
Henry's helping a lot. All right, we had Saquon.
Okay, again.
Why does Jalen look worse with Saquon?
He doesn't what you started this segment with. He doesn't have the right coaching because you have front office meddling and you have an issue. You've told me this for the last 4 months. You're not wrong, but you keep forgetting it a little bit here. Dude, this is the setup.
I know.
Okay. And to me, it's the same. Hey, do you think there's a little deja vu between Wentz and Hurts?
Yeah, and I think there's maybe a potential PTSD type of thing where you almost assume that's what's happening because we saw it before, and then I also think that's happening with the season last year, where so many people, myself included, are so weary of buying in because you're like, boy, I bought that fool's gold, and ultimately it got our team nothing, and our team was shit. I mean, last year was an unsuccessful season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
By far.
It was completely unsuccessful. Completely. So I think that's playing into it. I think Wentz plays into it. And I think organization-wise, I think the Chip Kelly PTSD is still there. I don't think Jeffrey Lurie bought the team and was like, I'm going to be the owner that meddles. Now, he doesn't do it in an overt way.
Well, he didn't because he didn't meddle with Reed.
I mean, look what he did. He put Howie. He said he put Howie in the broom closet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And said he basically demoted him. Howie said on an interview before, I thought I was never going to have power back in that organization again. He said that. Lurie did that in favor of a coach. That's ultimately what we want. Now, Chip wasn't the right coach, but I think that's now turned. Jeffrey Lurie saw that happen and said, holy shit, I'm not doing that again. I trust Howie with my money. He's proven he can at least put a winning team together. He's proven that he can correct some of the things he does wrong. And maybe he's all right being here. And by the way, he also has a Super Bowl now since Chip Kelly. Right? So maybe he's looking at this thing and is like, I don't think, like I said, I don't know if Jeffrey Lurie ever approached this thing with the bad intent of
How
being
he
a
runs
middling
the
owner.
team like you would run Procter and Gamble. Okay, that's how he runs the team. He has complete say. He runs all departments. His hand is in every single sandbox. And in most organizations, let me ask you this. Maybe because Andy lets him, because he empowers so many people, you think Brett Veach is involved with Andy Reid and putting a game plan together with Patrick Mahomes? You think he makes any suggestions to Matt Nagy and Andy Reid and to Patrick Mahomes?
The owner or Brett Veach?
General manager Brett Veach.
No,
you think
way.
he makes any say on what play should be run against the Ravens?
No, I don't think he says a single word.
Or who should play?
Dude, Sills, I told you, I watched that quarterback show, and I know it's produced, and I get it. I know it's not a perfect look, but like, dude, there was one practice in the heat of the 22 season, which is the year that the Chiefs ultimately beat us in the Super Bowl. Like, Andy literally goes out to practice and says, okay, this is the concept of what I want to do. And he lets Mahomes and Kelsey fill it in. Kelsey, where do you want to go? Mahomes, what do you want your X and your Y to do?
Oh,
and I watch that, and I'm like, that would never happen in Philly.
It empowers the quarterback.
It empowers your players. I also think it's empowering to your coach because it allows players to buy in and believe. And look, there's a reason every player that leaves Andy loves Andy. Why? Why does Andy connect with that? Because he believes in them. He shows them he believes in them. He accentuates their talents and he lets them have freedom. Everybody, in a way, Sills, everybody, regardless of what you do, you in your life as a host of the National Football Show, me in my life, everybody in the chat, everybody wants freedom, right? Everybody wants to have say or feel important or whatever it is, however you quantify it. I don't think they're doing a good job of that in the Eagles organization right now. And I think it starts with the split from front office to the coach. Now, I'm just speculating. I don't have any inside information to tell you guys that I'm for sure. But, and I think that's trickled down now to the quarterback. And, part of that is with Jalen taking over the reins again this year, where John has reported this. He's like, Jalen's might be happier now in this offense than he ever has been because he's always desired this extra bit of control over it. And now he has it. Now, whether it's working out, that's a separate conversation.
Okay,
but
I
don't think the organization does a good job of empowering people. Imagine if me every day, hey, Sales, what's on your show sheet today?
You would have no idea what you're about to say right now, how many times people have come to me. I had a boss that I had to give my topic sheet to every show, and I went like this, fuck that, I'm out of here.
Right. I agree. And I've never done that to you once, and I never would do that to you. I hired you because I believe in your talent and what you do.
People don't like that, though, man.
I know, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I do think that it's especially.
You know what, though? Wait a minute now. I'm going to tell you this, though. When you have a corporation like Odyssey, or you have a corporation like you have shareholders, you have advertisers, you get a lot more heat from the Eagles, from the Phillies. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what you were saying earlier. This is what Andy Reid does. You see those lines right there that I'm drawing up? He draws up that he's trying to pick the guy to tune the Y and the Z on the left side. And he'll go to his players going, how do you guys want to try to run that pick on the left side? Do you want to influence it on the right and that tight end in that box in the slot? How do you guys want to look at that? Those guys will have their ideas of how they want to get open, and Andy Reid will come up with a play. It's a brilliant way because who better than the guys that are on deck tell you how they're going to try to get open? Because, hey, Xander, you can have all the proper technique you want. When you get into a game, you know how many times you play the perfect block or you play the perfect tackle? Man, it's about getting guys on the ground. You practice technique. You practice perfection, knowing full well you're not going to get it on the field. But what you're doing is with reputation trying to get it. It's a brilliant way of how you coach. And that's why that guy empowers it. They don't believe that in Philly, dude. That is your fundamental issue.
You know what other impact I believe it has is I believe it creates a better connection for player to player.
Yes.
Right? Like Patrick Mahomes.
You're entitled.
But even like Patrick Mahomes' relationship with Travis Kelce is flourishing because they have that freedom. Like if you watch Travis Kelce, more times than not, he's not on a scripted route.
Right.
Like they know so well how each other plays, And Travis is looking for the seam, looking for the spot. And that's why Mahomes never gives up on a play. You remember the famous touchdown in 22 of Mahomes nearly running out of bounds. He spun around the dude, and then he just like dumps it over the top, and the whole internet went nuts. That was not a scripted play. That was Travis Kelce getting to the spot he knew the quarterback needed him.
Do you know why Tyreek Hill didn't fit really at the end of the Chiefs is what you just said? Because when you're an empowered player and you're helping design a particular play, and you know that play doesn't come to you, but yet you had some influence in that play being scripted to get open, you're still empowered to get that player open. That's why when Kelce gets 4 catches or 1 catch, or he's not playing great, that they say, how do you know he's not involved in getting Xavier Worthy open? Because he's helping with Mahomes, like you said, fill in the gaps there until it comes to him, because he knows it's going to come to him. Right. You feel so empowered as a player. Hey, the play didn't come to me, but I helped design that play. Dude, you're not doing it. You're not doing that in Philadelphia, man. There's no freaking way you're doing that.
Yeah.
No, hey.
You know what else this makes me think about, though? Is because sometimes I think you bring up points, and the points are so good, but the way you deliver it, people can't take it. And it happened to me the other day with A.J. Brown and my take on his comment after the game. And I know I keep going back to the show. It's because I watched it this week, and it just, a lot of stuff stood out to me. There's no ego in the Chiefs organization. None. Like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't care what his stats are. Andy Reid doesn't care who calls the plays or who gets credit. Travis Kelce doesn't care when he's not involved. And I think the bigger point here is that creates an environment of team first and winning first. And when you have the other player, and that's where I think they might have also not liked Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, he might have been a little bit more of an ego-driven guy. And when that's in your locker room with one player that's a caliber of A.J. Brown, that spreads like a disease, like a virus. And I'm not trying to criticize him. I'm saying it creates a culture of putting yourself and your stats and the business of it first before you put the team and winning and all of those things first.
Let me ask you this.
I think that's missing right now in the Eagles organization. And that's partly why I had a problem with A.J. Brown's comments, right? Everyone's like, Jay, you blew this up. Jay, you're crazy. Jay, F off, you're a hater. And I'm like, all right, I just think that's your star player.
How about this? Let me say this to you. I think the third wide receiver and the wide receiving core and the tight ends and everyone, when Andy's talking to all these guys, have more of a say and more empowered to help a play get designed. You don't really think they ask Jahan Dotson what his thoughts are on a respected pass route for A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. They're not doing that. Why? The primary targets do not dictate that. They don't design plays to go to him. They go to him just to be like, maybe just a kind of like a decoy. Dude, those are non-factors. But when you're the wide receiver, the third wide receiver in that room, that's why Jeff Stoutland is such a great coach. You know why? He coaches the first, second, and third team guys. You know why he's the best coach? He coaches like Andy. Right. Because he coaches the first, second, and third team guys the same way he coaches the first team guys. Yeah. And you feel empowered when you go out there and play that you have been getting first team reps all week long.
And that also comes to the players too, Sills. Like, that's Jalen Hurts' job. Jalen Hurts' job is to make sure that Jahan Dotson doesn't feel like a decoy and that he's involved and he has an impact. Like, that's why the year they got rid of Tyreek Hill and the whole media world said, oh, the Chiefs are done. The Chiefs are never going to be the same offense. You know, they all took that personally. Patrick Mahomes didn't just work with Travis Kelce. He got every receiver down to the practice squad in the offseason together. Every single one of them, repeatedly. And he made all of them feel like there's going to be a moment I need you. And you're important because of that.
Juju Smith-Schuster beat you in the Super Bowl.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, all that. And I think, I wonder if that part of it is missing so much in Philly. And it's almost a negative effect because the star power at the top is so good. Everybody else is just like even Dallas Goedert, dude. Dallas Goedert doesn't get the ball much.
No, now that both these guys are back, Goddard's going to be actionate out of the offensive
back
attack.
To a castaway. I mean, that's it. Look, I don't know. I think some of these problems are bigger, and
Well, here.
Potentially they're not as big as I'm making them out to be, but I'm trying to get to the root of like what's going on.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Dude, like I said, the Eagles do 8 things to win a title. The last 2 are the ones that win you the championship.
Right.
They stumble at the gate. And here, let me show you this here. So you said the other day, and I'm going to take something John said and something that Greg Cosell said this week. You think this is Jalen's offense? This is Jalen Hurts' offense?
Well, I think Jalen.
I don't think you're wrong.
I think it's a combination where Kellen Moore knows that Jalen Hurts is not going to thrive in the offense he ran for Dak Prescott. So from that perspective, yeah, I think it's Kellen's offense. I think I don't think John's lying to me. I think he's gotten off the record.
John's right too.
Said that, so I don't know that to be true. And John doesn't give off the record stuff because he believes in,
he knows the quarterback's limited,
trustworthy, which I agree with him.
Kellen knows the quarterback is limited.
Exactly. So that's where the offense. So yeah, in a way, it's Jalen's offense. Yeah, I mean, Kellen's just a new play caller,
and that's why it looks the same. Okay, so the first 25 plays, if it's Jalen's offense, how much of a say do you think he has in those first 25 plays that dictate the first quarter of the season? So is it Jalen Hurts that's holding the team back? Because if he knows the quarterback's limited, you know what? And Xander, I showed people, I've been in the meetings. The coordinator, Nick, the coach, the quarterback, the quarterback coach, maybe even the passing coordinator. We'll get to all super chats, I promise. They'll all sit there and look at Jalen and go, we have about 100 plays here. Which ones do you like right out of the gate?
Right.
Jalen's going to go this, and this. The coaches will go over with Jalen. What are we looking at with situationals here? 2nd and 8. Probably that play works good here. And then they'll put a play sheet together. So those first 25 plays, in my opinion, that's off the menu of Hurts. Because what happens after the first 25 plays? Then they have to have in-game adjustments. And that's when they pick the offense up. That's when they realize the quarterback is not making the right execution plays. They run the ball and they go back to running it, right? That's what they do. They're better off script. Yeah. So those first 25 plays, I'm saying this is an opinion now. If this is Hurts' offense, like John said, but it's Kellen building the offense around like Hurts, you said the whole time. Hey, don't you think Kellen's going to come in here and build an offense to the quarterback skill set? Like John said today, he is the limited, but the quarterback's limited. Now that's why you're not seeing as much motion. They stopped the motion because it was confusing the kid. How much of that first 25 in the first quarter you not scoring is on Hurts' ass? Having to set the protections, having to come up with the first 20 plays in the game, stalling on some of the plays. Dude, I'll tell you what, the worst he looks in games is the first series and the first 3 series.
So it's one of two things. It's one, it's either exactly what you just said, or two, we're discounting the organizational philosophy and the approach to the game plan because what they want to do so bad is to throw the ball to get a lead. So it's either Jalen or it's what is being expected of the coaches from the people upstairs. And maybe Howie's not sitting there saying, okay, run this play and run this play. He's probably not saying that. I think there's a built-in expectation, right, from when they were hired.
You don't have to say it
to pass the football.
You don't have to say it when you're paying people. You don't have to say it.
Exactly.
When you see the guys who are making the money, the problem comes down to this. They tried to throw the ball early in the game, and they try to get that offense going. What happens in the first month and a half of the season? It has failed. Why? Because the quarterback wasn't executing the pro-style offense, and every week it seems, even last week, they dumbed it down for the quarterback with 15 attempts. They took the game out of his hands so he didn't have turnovers to put him in a situation to have to try to make plays. My problem becomes with this. Okay, then they're forced because Barkley's so sensational that they do this. Shit, we got to go to doing one thing we don't want to do, really. We got to go and we got to run the football. Well, like you said, you pay all those guys that money in the O-line, utilize them, and you got a $10 million running back. Dude, for the first time in Eagle history, you guys have spent money on a running back in the excess of $10 million. There's a reason. They know that that quarterback was going to have bumps and bruises this year on trying to pick up a true pro-style offense. And once again, like Greg Cosell said, he struggles on the simplistic things in a pro style, and he's just not seeing the field. Dude, there's so limited things that you can do with that, and that's why it's essential you have a running game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I know we're at this point we're in speculation land, but
actually, the results are dictating exactly what I'm saying here.
Yeah, they are. They are, and that's where, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fix is to this because, you brought up that super chat and you said to bring it up when I'm on here. And I'm like, I agreed. I mean, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Like Howie Vision is paying top dollar for two number one wide receivers. Okay, great. We got two great wide receivers. Awesome. A great running back. Fantastic. Pro style offensive coordinator. Great. Top dollar for an RPO quarterback. Like, I'm not criticizing Jalen. I'm actually asking you in the chat, everybody that's an Eagles fan, a question.
Pieces don't fit.
The pieces don't fit. Well, that's you can't put a corner puzzle piece in the middle, right? I mean, why sign the quarterback Jalen Hurts and build the offense to be a run and gun offense?
Look,
it doesn't make sense.
Look at here. Let's use Baltimore because that's the prototypical pro style that Jalen and I think his skill set is. Look at what they did. They got an RPO coach in Munkin. They don't run with three wideouts. They run with a fullback. They don't really have – Zay Flowers is nice, dude. He ain't great. No. Okay? The tight end is good, and the running back is spectacular to take some of the heat off. And by the way, one of the reasons why those passing lanes are open, I told you yesterday, you can't just let Lamar Jackson and you come down backside and make that play on Derrick Henry and tackle him from behind because you know what that quarterback will do? And that RPO, he'll take that ball up like Jalen did. How many times did you see him come out the back door in 22 where he took that thing up the sidelines? And I can't tell you how many times I said this on this show. Man, that thing was 3rd and 13. He's getting that. He's getting that with his wheels. He was so electric. And, dude, there was no third down that he wasn't going to get in 22 because everyone feared him in open space. Jalen Hurts is not Lamar in open space, but I'll tell you what, I'd be all right with that guy in open space if he played like that. He was electric. Now, I mean, what did Wink Martindale say to him last year after the season? We knew you weren't running, man. And that shitty Giants team beat you.
I know.
They knew you weren't going to be a factor in the run game here. Let me get to the –
You know what the crazy part of this is I've been really hard on Jalen. And I don't think I have been, but people have commented that I am. I've gotten some hate because of it. I really don't even think this is on Jalen, man. Like, if I were him, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed off. Now, he's not because he got a massive contract. And at the end of the day, he's set for life, and that's fantastic. I'm honestly very excited for the young man. It changed his entire family's future for multiple generations of people coming after him. So, no, he's not pissed. But, boy, when you get to the end, Sills, and it ain't all about the money and you're used to the money,
he
might look back and be like, them motherfuckers.
You're talking legacy now.
Yeah, them motherfuckers really messed with my football career. And I don't know. I think he might have that conversation with himself at some point. Maybe he's had it. Maybe he doesn't care. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how he's wired. But
when you're young and you're getting a direct deposit of $2 million or $3 million a week, may kind of cover up some of the pain, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, let me ask you this question here. So Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have the highest passer rating combo between quarterback and wide receiver in the National Football League. They have 141 rating, which means they're the best QB and wide receiver combo of any combination in pro football. Who has the advantage Sunday, in your opinion?
You talking about just wide receiver quarterback combos?
Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase versus the Eagles secondary.
Oh, the Eagle. Okay, versus the Eagles secondary. Well, that's obviously a big advantage to Joe Burrow. Now, I mean, the key for that matchup is going to come down to the defensive front. I mean, if the Eagles can create pressure this week, which they should have a good chance. I mean, Joe Burrow doesn't have a great offensive line in front of him. I mean, he really doesn't.
No, I heard that last night about the Rams last night, who had the 28th worst offensive line.
And Brian,
guess what? The Vikings.
They had the worst. That was one of the worst pressure games since 2020 in the NFL.
Okay. I mean,
no, but yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I mean, it could happen. I don't think they're going to.
Burrow's in that Stafford room.
Yeah, so if you don't get him off his spot, it's going to be a slice and dice type of day. Now, if you're asking me who has the advantage, yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have the advantage. But can the Eagles lessen that advantage by moving him off his spot, creating pressure, not letting him be comfortable in the pocket? Yeah, 100%. I mean, that would be the method to do it, and it's going to be a big Jalen Carter day. I mean, he's got to create pressure up the middle. He's got to open that up for those edge rushers. And if you get home and you put pressure in Joe Burrow's face, he's not going to be able to be as good as we all know he is. Now, he's great. He's going to make plays no matter what. But the idea is to lower how many plays he can make so that you can win the football game. And I think that's where the Eagles got to get to. Weirdly, this is going to be a defensive game for the Eagles. Not in that you're going to stop them, but if you don't create pressure, they're going to put up 40 points.
Oh,
I mean, he's going to score every drive. And it's not a knock on the Eagles defense. Quarterbacks like Joe thrive against our style of defense. They just do. I mean, we've made Baker Mayfield have 80% completions,
I saw Derek Carr having 90%.
Is that who it was? Derek Carr who had the 90?
Like,
yeah, he was like 31 or 34. Yeah, crazy. So, you got to get him off his spot. If they don't get him off his spot, I think it's going to be a long day. And I don't know if the Eagles offense at this point is ready to go into a shootout with Joe Burrow. Actually, I would say they're definitely not. Not at this point. Certainly not. Now, in 22, they could have beat a shootout with anybody. And that's part of the thing that messes me up mentally. Where I'm like, boy, it's hard to not agree, right, with Cosell and Sileo and all these people who are telling me that Jalen is struggling. And then I'm like, man, he really did pass with the best of them in 22. Like, what went wrong? Or where are we that we can't even envision him doing that anymore? I guess it's
different offense. It's a different
offense.
It's a different offense, and the pieces fit. Hey, by the way, we're going to read all super chats. I promise you. Philly Godfather is going to join us here. How about this one here? Two last ones here for you, Xander, before we get to the super chats.
Yep.
So you tell me who your no-holes defense is going into this game, all right? The Eagles have racked up 13 sacks in the last two games versus the Giants and the Browns.
Yeah.
Prior to that, they had 6 in 4 weeks. Do you know that if you look back, they had the 5th worst pressure rate of any NFL team prior for the entire month? In the last 2 weeks versus Giants and Browns, they were able to get 13 sacks. Who are your Eagle defense? Is it the last 2 weeks? Or is it the first 4 weeks? Or is it someplace in the middle there that you think this defense is better because they were 6? They were one of the worst pressure defenses for a month. And now they have 13 sacks in 2 weeks. They had 6 3 weeks ago. Who are they?
Right now, I think they're inconsistent is who they are. That's who I think they are right now. And this is why this is a big game, because you got to start showing that you're consistent. You can't just show up one week and not the next and expect to be a Super Bowl contender or a championship football team. Right now, they're inconsistent. I think they have that upside. Now, yeah, and the Giants and the Browns, I mean, you can't take that to the bank. That's not going to be your identity.
Yeah, but I do think what NS says here, I do think they have made that. Adjustments have been made by the coaches. I think there's some of that by Vic.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but
they're bringing more pressure.
Yeah, well, Vic brought more pressure. Dude, you're not going to bring pressure on Joe Burrow.
No.
He is going to slice you and dice you. He's going to crush you, like you just said. He's going to crush you.
No.
So you don't do that. Spike. Let me just push back on my man, Spike. Spike's in here. Xander's a front runner, not a true Eagles fan. 2 days ago, not 2 weeks, not 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks, Spike. I have the receipts. I got all your comments on JAKIB. You can go back and delete them. I got them all, my friend. He was commenting, Eagles need to draft Shedeur Sanders. Now he's back in Eagle land, Eagle happy land, and he wants to tell me about my opinions. Spike, if you were broadcasting, you'd be 3 sheets to the wind, brother. Fuck off. Spike. He does the same thing to you. He comes in here, rips on you, and then the next day he's like, "Oh wow, Sileo was right." And then 2 days later, he's back to calling us all sorts of names in the chat. Spike, get out of here, dude.
Hey, Spike, you're a pebble in my shoe. It's all good, kid.
Nah,
hey,
that's too much.
Now, do you want to do your prediction now, or do you want to do it after the super chats?
My prediction, I'll put it out there. I'm ready to put it out there.
By the way, here's mine. I'll tell you first. I think this is going to be a game handled by the Bengals, and they're going to take care of business, get to 4-4, and they're going to beat them 30-21.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with your score. I think it could certainly go that way. And John had the Bengals as well, 31-26. John had, interesting, John and I had similar scores. I have the Eagles winning this week. I do. I have them winning 31-28. I don't feel like it's an Eagle-colored glasses pick. I think it's I don't want to say it's a must-win game, but it's do or die for this team in that your fan base, and I just talked about Spike, and I just talked about me, your fan base is teetering because your team is teetering. This is the first opportunity to say those 2 wins over the Giants and the Browns weren't bullshit. We're a good football team, and we can beat good football teams, and not only good football teams, we can beat good quarterbacks. And if they do that, now I think you're looking at it and you're like, wait a second, Sills, because I agree with a lot of your criticism of the team. You beat the Bengals this week and you move to 5-2. You're all of a sudden starting to see the light as a fan where we could pretty easily get to 12, 13 wins this year. We could pretty easily, if we handle business, versus a lot of teams that we're supposed to handle business against, because let's be real, we don't have a world beater schedule.
If they take care of business against the Bengals, you're going to validate what you did against the Browns.
Exactly. And that's my point. And now and also you're creating a bigger trend of more consistency. Now you're starting to form a real identity, right? You just asked me on defense. Well, the defense doesn't have an identity yet because they've been so up and down. You go out there and you slow Joe Burrow down. Now you're building an identity that you can build on. And I think that's why this game is so important. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a must-win game because if we lose, we can get back into it. But is it going to create all sorts of confusion for your fan base like the first 4 weeks did? 100%. And we wouldn't be wrong to do so because we're so up and down, right? And then you'll add in, okay, you play a good quarterback and you get beat. This is a big win, not only a big week for this team, not only for the fans, but for the team as well. Like, you know how it is inside an NFL locker room. You know way better than me. I've never been in an NFL locker room. You start to realize like who you are as a team too, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if this team goes out there and gets a win, you got to start feeling good. You got to start believing in what you're going to be. And you know you're not there yet, right? That's the climb. That's life. Welcome to life, man. You never reach the peak ever in anything you do in life. You never reach the peak. It's all about the journey to get there. It's all it's about. And the Eagles know that. And they have a high I think they believe they have a high ceiling. And I think if they win this game, man, confidence goes a long way in the NFL. I really think it does. And if this team gets a win, I think it's a real win you can really build on. I have 31-28. I have the Birds coming out and winning in a big way. I have Jalen showing up more so in the passing game. I don't expect him to beat Joe Burrow. I expect a balanced attack. I expect a good day from Saquon. I expect AJ and Devontae getting their numbers, and I expect finding that winning formula again. I spoke about it at 2-2. I was concerned that the team lost the winning personality, right? Like, even you go back to the 22 and the 23 in the beginning of 23, dude, we were like 26-3 or 4 in a certain period. Like, you know how it is. You played for a winning franchise in Miami, winning organization. Losing becomes so unusual when you do. It's almost like a freaking, what just happened? I'm so not used to this. I was worried at 2-2 though that they started to get used to losing. You can get a win this week. I think you changed that trajectory.
I went from losing 1 game in 3 years in a regular season to the Bucks, who lost 14 games.
Yep.
I lost more games in 1 year than I did in 4 years in high school and 5 years in college. And I'm going to tell you,
doesn't it?
It's numbing.
Yeah.
It's mind numbing that all that happens here. All right, let's get to the super chats. Philly Godfather is going to be around the corner talking about week 8 of the National Football League. think we got a bunch of them here. By the way, we really appreciate you guys and all your super chats. Xander, this week was a monster week in super chats. Please hit the like button as well. You guys were great here.
Yeah, man. JAKIB Nation's really been crushing. I appreciate everybody so much, man. Even people like Spike and everybody that disagree. If you spend a minute of your day watching JAKIB, you're good in my book, man. I appreciate it.
Man. Me
Coach
too.
Trucker checks in. Like I said, this game for the Eagles is important. What did we say about the last 7 or 8 games of last season? It's a good point.
Yep, absolutely. Polska. That is absolutely right. I agree with you 100% because you're trying to get momentum going into the back end of your schedule here. You don't want to be playing great. Hey, by the way, maybe this is a reverse of a year ago. Maybe you will pick up steam and start playing great at the back end, where last year it fell apart at the back end. You'd want to be playing great ball going into January and hopefully February.
Great super, Polska. Appreciate your support, my friend. Abe checks in. Abe says, Vic versus Bengals in 21. The score was 15-10. Chase said in press they're preparing for Vic's 2 high safeties since that game's Burrow was 15-27 for 157. So you're saying Vic kind of shut him down in that game. Abe, that's pretty good insight right there.
Yeah, well, let's see if they get pressure on him because pressure is going to dictate that.
Yeah, right. Like I'd have to see, that 2 high safety is not going to work so good if that defensive line's not getting pressure.
And remember something too. If you're talking about Vic versus Bengals in 21, where was Vic in 21? San Francisco or Chicago? I forget where he was.
Was he in Denver?
Oh yeah, he was in Denver. You're right. He was in Denver.
He might have been in Denver at that time. Actually, as a head coach, I think.
Hey, by the way, he was in Denver. By the way, you had a great pass rush, and you had Patrick Surtain up there. Yeah, so you better get pressure on him. Denver got pressure in that game.
Yep, no doubt. Let's go to Anthony Wilson, my man. Appreciate you, Anthony. He says, how can you say the pieces don't fit Xander when those pieces got you 3 points from a title 2 years ago? Problem is he just needs to evolve. Patience. And Sills, before you answer, I'll answer Anthony real quick and just say, well, Anthony, I think you bring up a good point where how could you say the pieces don't fit when you're right? The reality is they were 3 points from a title. But are you telling me, Anthony, that they're using Jalen in the same way that they did that year? Right now, Anthony, look at the game.
That team remotely even look like that team?
This team, Anthony, wants to pass the ball.
Dude,
that's fine. But that's not particularly what Jalen thrives.
That's such a bad take. This team is not even remote.
I don't think it's a bad take. I think he's.
But that team is so different from this team. That team had veterans everywhere at every level and every side of the ball. This team doesn't have anything like that. I'm not going to
say it's a shit take. I think it's fair logic. I think you have to look at the real problem, which is they took Jalen away from what he did best and wanted to turn him into this high prolific passing quarterback, which I'm not even knocking him. It's just not his game.
Dude, the only guy that doesn't fit in Philly right now is Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, if you took Lamar Jackson and said drop back 40 times,
never happened.
Game and don't run, you're not going to work.
You're not,
no matter how
you're
elite,
not putting Lamar Jackson in. You're not putting Lamar Jackson in Cincinnati. You're not. He's not dropping.
Well, Anthony follows up, and I appreciate this. He said that's why I said evolution. Anthony, I would argue there needs to be more evolution.
Not involved.
Well, I think the evolution really needs to come from the freaking organization. Stop, get your ego, take it and throw it out the damn window. Look at who you've got, Anthony, and build around that man.
They're not
doing it though, dude. They're not doing it, and that's my biggest fear. But I appreciate your point.
You know
Anthony.
what? The front office can lose this. I'm saying the front office is going to lose this Bengal game. I'm not saying that the Eagle players are going to lose it because you know what they're going to do? They're going to be boneheaded and they're going to be bullheaded and they're going to throw it. I know it. They're not going to stick to their guns.
Yeah, you don't want to get into a shootout with Joe Burrow. I really don't think that's the method to win. Jalen checks in. Jalen Mad Day. Appreciate you, brother. He says regression. He did in 22, so he can, but Hurts choosing not to. See, this is where sometimes going back and reading supers can be hard. I'm not sure what he was saying this in regard to.
Oh, what do you want me to do? Dissect the guy who can't? Hey, just put it out there, Jalen.
Yeah, I'll follow it up. You don't got to send it.
We'll follow it up.
I'll try and. Okay, you're still in here, brother. Give me a response on that.
There he goes.
Okay, yeah. Opposing D are playing Jalen differently in 22, and he needs to evolve.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what Anthony Wilson just said too.
But he can't. John McMullen said that. Hey, why does the offense look the same? Because the quarterback's the same.
I know, but they changed the offense around him. He didn't change. He's
No
still
doubt.
the same damn player.
You're banging your head against something that won't change, and it will make the quarterback a defect. You know why? Because they've coached the greatness out of him. It's frustrating.
It is, man. It's next level frustrating. It pisses me off. Like sometimes I actually am angered at this shit. It really bothers me. Brian checks in. Jalen Hurts plays favorites. He has 3-person huddle between AJ and Devontae pregame. Where are the other receivers? Bad vibes. I've never seen it, Brian, but I would say that I would agree with you that he shouldn't do that. And I think it comes from the top, the ego thing. I really do. But so is your response.
25, 35. How you doing? I mean, it's true. And you know, there was an article, like I said, I went back and read the article in Sports Illustrated. They didn't pay all them guys that money. You sit there and run the ball 48 times. That's just they're gonna throw hey, you watch. I personally think that the Eagles want to get behind so they can throw the ball. Because that's what they want to do instead of handing it off to Barkley. Handing it to Barkley is the deal to beat Cincinnati stinks at the run, dude. Run it at him. Nope. I guarantee that first 25 will all be passes. The majority of them will be passes. You watch.
Brian checks in again. Brian, appreciate your support of the channel, my friend. He says, after this year's failure, I would do Hurtsy Boy a solid and send him to Indy with Shane for IR5. He doesn't mean Anthony Richardson, does he? I don't want that dude.
Me neither. I'd rather take Joe Flacco.
I'd rather take Joe.
Hey. They're 4-3 right now because of Joe Flacco, not Anthony Richardson.
Anthony, I don't know if he meant is Anthony Richardson number 5?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he must have meant AR5, I guess. Appreciate your support, but no, I don't want Anthony Richardson.
He looks like. By the way, he looks like the Florida Anthony Richardson right now, right?
He's not. I don't think he's
completion percentage.
I think Jalen's a better thrower and a better player than he is.
Yeah, he looks
Nasty Beach checks in. Hurts with all these weapons is like an 8-year-old driving a Lamborghini. Hashtag free Devontae Smith.
-2 yards for a $25 million wideout. Can you imagine any one of those wideouts, including, can you imagine Stephon Diggs walking off the field having -2 yards? Holy hell would be paid. Can you imagine AJ walking off the field with -2 yards? Holy shit, dude. AJ would be screaming at that where the Liberty Bell is.
Now, see, I have a different take. You know, I appreciate this 8-year-old driving a Lamborghini. That's not what it is. You know what it is? It's taking a car that's great in a straight line and it's trying to drive it around the Nürburgring. That's what's happening. It's not an 8-year-old driving a Lamborghini. It's not. It's taking a Porsche 911 and putting them in a drag race with a Hellcat.
Here's
not going to happen.
Here's what they've done. They've taken Michael Schumacher out of an F1 car.
Exactly.
They put him in a dump truck.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I just think they're using Hurts wrong. I really do. And look,
I think he's driving the wrong offense. He's driving the wrong offense.
Yeah. Any more supers? Anthony Wilson. Jalen Hurts has been bad this season, but some of you don't know the difference between criticism and insults. He's 25 years old. Let him develop. Anthony, I don't believe I ever insult the man. I respect the guy greatly. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a good leader. I think he's a good dude.
Snowflake, Anthony.
No, but I'm not insulting the guy. I'm looking to try and win a Super Bowl. And we got so damn close we could almost taste it. Why does it look like we can't even sniff that anymore? That's what I'm trying to diagnose, Anthony. Not saying I'll ever be able to. Not saying I'm an expert, but I never try and insult players personally. It's not personal. Keep evolving checks in. So it's official. Hurts is done in Philly. What we see now is pretty much what we'll get as long as Hurts is under center.
Because of the organization wanting him to drive that way, yes.
Yeah, they'll never change. Yep. That's the problem. But I don't know. I'm not going to say he's done in Philly. We'll see. Brian says, Jalen Hurts is not a 5-year-old. He's a grown man who can handle some criticism. No need for the fangirls to put a cape on for him. I meant IR5. Is that what he's called? IR5?
I guess so. I don't know. Anthony Richardson stinks. I have no interest in him.
No.
Sills is the one that insults Jalen. Why? Because I have a little fun with him. Buckle up, kid.
Jimmy, I don't think he insults. Silly's got a good heart, man. You guys are wrong about that, but
I think it's all in fun. And if
it is, it's sports talk. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if we wanted to all agree on everything, we wouldn't have a show right now. You guys wouldn't give a shit about this show.
I really don't.
Part of the fun is having conversation, creating different opinions,
and having a little. Hey, so wait a minute. When you go to a bar, don't you talk shit to one another?
I do. That's a Philly thing. I don't know. I talk shit on Jalen because I love shit.
Jimmy Rand sits there and goes, has his beer with his boys and goes, I can't believe you're talking that poorly about Joel Embiid not playing tonight. How can you say that? Because he's a worm.
Good about the Eagles. Don't bring up Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Come on, Sil. Remember, man, you're my chicken heels playing free safety. How you doing?
Couple more supers. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Jalen checks in again. 1.2 years of opposing Ds playing differently. Patience, it's still evolving.
No way. Patience with what? The organization? You can forget it. They have no patience. Here's the patience that they have. Fire Desai. Okay, bye. Fire Johnson. Okay, bye. Yeah, come on. They have no patience. Fire Doug Peterson. They have no patience. Come on, man. Patience.
Dude, this is why I made that point about ego earlier. I think it's big. I think it's bigger than people
How
think.
many coaches have you fired in 3 years? For a guy who's 39-19 or 39-17, you have fired 7 different coaches. Hey, you don't think anybody? Well, come on, man. Let's come on.
Doesn't that highlight the ego? Like literally,
absolutely.
They fired the Super Bowl coach because they believed that they had a better philosophy.
Absolutely, they don't believe the coaches are smarter than them.
That's ego. That is ego. Dor Garner checks in. Dor, appreciate your support today as well, my friend. He says they have to throw paying top dollars for 2 number 1 wide receivers. If they don't, AJ throws a fit. Eagles are a team of individuals. My Commanders win with less talent, but they play selfless ball.
I don't know, man, all that.
I agree. I'm sorry. I agree.
I think this.
That's why I had a problem with AJ's comments last week, Sills.
Wait a minute, though. When I brought it up that those guys all got their numbers last year and the team imploded, and one of the reasons why everyone was like, those 2 guys are essential to winning, I never think they are essential to winning. They're not going to win you championships, dude. They're going to win you some games. They're not going to win you a championship. Because you know why? They don't play championship ball.
AJ,
you're back to being predictable again, dude. You're throwing the 2 dudes.
Yeah, you are. We are for sure. I mean, look, I know everybody loves AJ Brown, so he's like into that Jalen Hurts category where you can't criticize him or else everybody thinks you're a hater, which is just ridiculous. But let's just be real and call a spade a spade. The truth is, AJ Brown was sitting at a strip club in Atlantic City during our playoff game last year. You know why? He had his numbers. He knew he was about to get that new damn contract that came in the summer, and he didn't give a shit. So I like A.J. Brown too. I think A.J. Brown's a great player too. I think he's a misunderstood player. I don't think he's as big of a diva as Sills makes him out to be. But to call the truth, that's not a good look. And that highlights the point we talked about earlier on the show where, and what Dor's saying right here, a team of individuals. A team of individuals. Not a team for a common goal that doesn't care about stats and numbers.
Doesn't that sound like Dream Team 2? Doesn't this sound like the Dream Team 2 with Nnamdi Asomugha and them guys?
Nnamdi Asomugha, what a bust. Holy shit. I can't believe
isn't Bryce Huff the Nnamdi Asomugha of that team?
I think the defense is playing like more of a team unit than the offense is. I mean, think about it. Seriously, can we talk? I mean, I know people get mad at me, and they keep getting mad at me every time I bring it up. Sills, what you said, I mean, even 5 days removed from it, we beat a division opponent by 25 points. Saquon Barkley avenged the front office that fucked him in New York. And the first comment in the first interview in the stalls after the game is, hey, man, we'd like the ball too. Dude, I'm sorry, man. I am sticking to my guns on this. I don't care how many comments I take. That's a stupid comment. It's a dumb comment.
Coming off an emotional week and a controversial week too.
Yeah, for Saquon. I mean, it's just
And
stupid.
no, for Nick.
Yeah, right, Nick, Saquon. I mean, I'm sorry. I had a major issue with that comment. Brian checks in one more time. Brian, appreciate that, man. Thanks to everybody for the super chats today. Xander, you know Joe Burrow's aura dwarfs Jalen Hurts. Jalen has no chance in 22 years. Ancient Jalen Hurts Golden Girls keep defending him. I mean, hey, Joe Burrow does have that pretty boy aura, I guess you could say. I don't really care for that. The dude's a good football player. That's what I care about.
I like the furs and the hair and the arm. Okay, I like the whole thing. He's Joe Namath, 2.0, 2024. I like the dude, man.
All right, let me answer because this, I appreciate pushback. And John Secunda, this is the guy that cried about me saying Elon Musk was a pretty revolutionary dude. The dude that's landing rockets on Mars
and bringing them back.
The dude who's creating electric cars as a realistic option in America. I mean, in the world. I mean, Secunda.
Oberman wants to
I think the snowflake Secunda.
Hey, and you see Oberman wants to lock him up.
Who?
Keith Oberman wants to lock him up. Go ahead.
My part says, how did he say it, Xander? It was said with sarcasm. Brian or Fly, you're missing my point.
Nope. No, it wasn't.
You got to sacrifice ego for the betterment of the team. And that's clear that they haven't done that. Fly, he said it was sarcasm. Do you not believe there was truth in that?
Totally.
And look, we all know there is truth, right? Those guys need their targets and they're going to get them. But to say it in that moment shows that this team is not committed to a common goal. A.J. Brown was thinking about targets. And I don't care if it was for Devontae Smith. The targets, the comment's the comment. It was a stupid comment, man. It was a stupid comment.
Absolutely, man.
I mean, Travis Kelce, what are his numbers this year? What are Patrick Mahomes' numbers this year? Everybody comments every day, oh, Mahomes sucks.
What
yeah, well,
was
they're 6-0.
Devontae's numbers last week? He didn't complain.
Maybe he was behind the scenes. Who knows? But, I think you got to sacrifice ego when you're playing a team sport. I really do.
Brother, I can't wait to the pre- and post-game show and the halftime show, then the post-post show. That'll be on Sunday, the legendary show that everyone tries to replicate but never duplicates. Awesome stuff, dude. We got Philly Godfather coming up. Yeah, that was really good stuff by John today, man. That was really good stuff.
Yeah, we had a really good show today.
That was really great stuff, man. How about this, too? How about Jason Cole talking about Paul Domowitz saying...
I didn't agree with him. Look, I can respect it because
I got it.
I understand that he sees it as a Hall of Fame voter's view.
Yes.
But you have to also be able to put
defending
yourself,
this guy.
I get it. And I have no problem with that. But you got to put yourself in Eric Allen's shoes.
Absolutely.
You watch. I mean, I'm not criticizing Damo.
Eric Allen's bitter.
You watch Damo for 5 minutes. You know what kind of guy he is. He's not an enthusiastic guy. He's very laid back. He's very subdued. There's no passion. He's very low testosterone. He's not an alpha type of guy that you would want to get up there and be like, this man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
I know.
So I get what Jason's doing. He's defending him, and I have no problem with that. But I'm not going to sit here and say I agree completely. I mean, I understand why Eric Allen has gripes, whether he's been in that room or not. I understand it.
Xander, absolutely spectacular, man. You've killed this segment guys, since you've come on this segment here, man. I mean, you have absolutely killed it. You're killing it on that show. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I'll see you on Sunday, brother.
Great stuff, Sills. Appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Hit that like button for us. Appreciate y'all. Good show, Sills. I'll catch you after.
You got it. Guys, that was great. Philly Godfather's going to join us next. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in,
Decisions,
the dark.
the dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services. The first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild weekday.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big week and big games in the NFL. Last night was an interesting ball game, too. Are the Minnesota Vikings starting to come back to the pack because Matthew Stafford gets his guys back last night, and he looked absolutely insane last night. Well, if you want to pretend to be somebody like Jeffrey Lurie where you have a yacht, or you want to get yourself a townhouse down in Park Avenue, there's only one guy I know that could deliver the goods. You know how James Dolan now is working on the Sphere in Vegas? Billy Godfather's working the Strip in Vegas. This is the man that sets the line. You know, like the guy that was in that movie Casino, he's the guy that walks around setting the line. He never loses. Unless he bets on Dak. I will have to go there with that. All that being said, our dear friend, we welcome him back here, man. We missed him last week. We hope all is well. Our friend, the legendary Philly Godfather. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. A little under the weather, little sniffles, but we got the hat up here. You see the hat, Dan?
I do see it.
There it is, baby. Minus 180. He's up to minus 180. Big favorite.
You know what's funny? Here you are, got the sniffles, and then I look at Joel Embiid. He's got the sniffles, and he calls it load management. That just shows you the kind of guy you are. You're playing injured, you're playing hurt, you're playing a little under the weather. And there's that guy going, I don't think I'm going to step in tonight. I don't know, man. I mean, let me ask you right out of the gate with him. Do you think he ever delivers an NBA championship to the city of Philadelphia?
No, I don't think so. I think they go under their season win total of 51.5 wins this season. They're a little banged up. Other teams are getting better. The Knicks are better. The Bucks are really good.
The
Heat's really good. On the other side,
even Indiana.
Yeah, they played great last year. And on the other side, I got OKC to win it all this year at plus 750. They're a young team that addressed some of their needs in the offseason, and they're going to be hard to beat as well. But I don't think Embiid gets it done for Philly. No.
All right, Sunday. Is this right? Explain this one to me. So the Bengals are favored, and they're 3-4, and you got the 4-2 Eagles rolling into Cincinnati, 0-4-1 all time at that place. Not that I don't know if that plays an issue in anything, but all that being said, read me that number and tell me what that number says to you and how you guys with the money are looking at this ball game here. Is that number the way it is because of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, basically. Bengals are 2.5 and 48 on the total. But now the Bengals defense has been banged up all season, but now they're pretty healthy. And if you look at the stats between Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts, I mean, Burrow's got 1,700 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, two interceptions. Hurts is throwing for 7 and 4. He's not doing anything this year. I think the Bengals win this game. They've played the Chiefs tough. They lost by a point to the Chiefs when they were really banged up. They lost the Ravens in overtime when they were really banged up. And now they're playing an Eagles team that I don't think they're up to par as those two teams. I don't think they're as good as those two teams. And you're laying 2.5 at home. I think the Bengals is the right side. I think Joe Burrow gets it done. I'm not betting on Hurts over Joe Burrow.
I mean, I'm with you. I got 31. I think, what did I say? I got 31-20. Yeah. I got 31-20 Cincinnati winning that game, and I think it's going to be a little bit more of a spread than what people think it's going to be. Hey, last night, who are you buying into more now, Minnesota or the Rams? The Rams get their tools back last night with Puka Nacua and also with Cooper Kupp last night. That running back is a very underrated running back, and they got one of the best play callers in the National Football League, is Sean McVay. Are you buying into what you see with Stafford, or do you want to wait and see a couple more weeks to see what they do when putting it together? And they are in a crappy division, the NFC West.
Yeah, and they were banged up too. We talked about it before the season started. I told you guys the two best quarterbacks in the NFC are Matt Stafford and Jared Goff. And don't be surprised if you see him in the NFC Championship game. So if this Rams team can get healthy, they can make a run late. And Minnesota, they were exceeding expectations early in the year. They were playing, above their heads. Now they're coming back down to earth a little bit. So it was a perfect spot for the Rams. They got their guys back on offense, and you saw what they can do when they're healthy. And they got, they still have Matt Stafford. They still got McVay as a coach, two of the best in the NFL. They're going to be dangerous down the stretch.
Let's get to the NFL here. Baltimore, Cleveland. Do they cover the Ravens against Cleveland at home?
Man, right now, right around 75% of the action is on the Ravens. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I mean, the Browns' defense is finally healthy. It's a division game. Browns' offense is still banged up.
Winston's in for Deshaun now. He's out for the year.
Yeah, I think their offense ranks 29th in the NFL in scoring. Ravens are coming off a short week. Browns have lost 5 in a row. They're starving. I haven't bet the game yet, but if it gets to 10, right now it's 9. I probably like the dog here, plus the 10. I probably like the Browns plus the 10.
Tennessee at Detroit. Tennessee just about ready to wave the white flag. Detroit covered this ball game right now because, again, and by the way, Jared Goff, 150 quarterback passer rating the last 3 weeks, 7 touchdowns, no picks. He is just playing lights out football in the conversation for MVP. Detroit covering this game?
It's a tough one. It's a lot of points, man. And before the season started, me and you both on the Lions at 13-1. I gave you guys Jared Goff at 28-1 to win the MVP. Right now, he has the 4th best odds to win the MVP behind Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. And on the season, he's got the 2nd best quarterback rating right behind Lamar Jackson. So that's a good bet that we gave you guys. Lions a little banged up heading into this game, coming off that big victory last week over the Vikings. If the game gets to 13, I'll probably look to take Tennessee here, even though I did bet under their season win totals. They still got one of the better defenses in the league. They're pretty solid. They're ranked 2nd overall in the opponent yards per play metric and adjusted line yards. So Lions are coming off a huge emotional win against the Vikings. They got the Packers up next. They might take their foot off their pedal. And their running back's out for the Lions, too. I don't think he's playing this week. So I kind of like the Titans plus 13 if it gets there.
Wow. Tua's back, and it's against Kyler Murray, and it's at home here. So, again, I don't know what the rust factor is going to be here, but it is at home. Offense has got to get an injection here because the last couple of weeks there with the stripper quarterback, Skylar Thompson, that's just not going to work here. But do you like the Dolphins in this ball game, or do you like Arizona coming off a big win themselves this last week?
I think Kyler Murray has a big game here.
Yeah.
Miami's pass defense is limping heading into this game. I went over 202 passing yards for Murray. And as long as nothing changes, I also like Tua to come back strong against Arizona. I mean, the Cardinals have one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. They rank in the basement of the league in sacks and pressure rate. So he should go over his passing yards, which is like 255.5. It's a short week. You got cross-country travel for the Cardinals. Tua's back. Miami wins this. I think they win the game easily here.
Aaron Rodgers beats the Patriots in Foxborough, right? I mean, their season is over if they don't win this ball game here. I mean, they got to start putting some wins together. They're in the AFC. It's a very competitive AFC. They're far down the list right now on the outside looking in when it comes to playoff teams. In your opinion, Jets get it done?
It's a big number. It's 7-41. And, I want to ask you, I mean, he's looking old to me.
Yeah, he is.
He's looking,
Yes.
I mean, he's coming off that injury and he's 40 years old, but he's looking his age.
Yes.
I mean, they're up 15-6. They're driving before halftime against Pittsburgh. If they score there, it's a different outcome. He throws into triple coverage. And then the second half, he got a little unlucky, hit the guy in the chest, and Pittsburgh intercepted the ball. But to me, he's looking old. This is a big number, man. You know what I mean? And the Patriots aren't that good. As of right now, the Vegas has them and the Panthers to end up with the worst record in the NFL. I think their adjusted season win total is down to 3.5. So I'm not looking to bet on the Patriots, here either. But they have played tough at Foxborough. They played Seattle tough. They lost by a field goal to them. I think they played Miami tough. They lost, 15-10 in that game. They've only gotten blown out one time at Foxborough this season. That was to the Texans. It's a division game. The Jets have the worst turnover differential than the Patriots. This is a game that the Jets really need to win and cover the spread. They got to look good doing it. I'm not looking to invest in either team. If I do anything, I'll give it out on Twitter, but I'm not looking to bet this game.
Big game in the NFC South here, Atlanta and Tampa Bay. I mean, looks like New Orleans now sitting at 2-5 has kind of rolled back to who they were and are. And now you're looking at these two teams battling it out here with, each other here for the NFC. Tampa Bay, big loss last week against Ravens. Atlanta now also has to come back and get a big win here. Your opinion, who do you like in this one, Falcons or Bucks? It's at Raymond James.
Before I give you my opinion, guess who has 11 more touchdowns and 500 more passing yards this season than Jalen Hurts? Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield has 11 more touchdown passes
and 500 more passing yards.
I'm going to need that for ammo later. 500 more passing yards and 11 more TD passes?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct. So double check it, but I mean, Philly fans got to be scratching their heads, right? We busted their chops last season, talking all that smack, how Baker Mayfield had a better year, but he's having a much better season this year. So if Jalen Hurts doesn't get his crap together, man, it's going to be a long season. But talking about this game, it's a division game. The Falcons are healthier. Last time they played, Atlanta had 7 more first downs. I think they had 200 more total yards for the game. They won in overtime. This time around, Buccaneers don't have their wide receivers, Godwin or Evans.
That's right.
Yeah, Tampa's pass defense, one of the worst in the NFL. I mean, you got to like the Falcons here at anything under a field goal -2.5. I kind of like the Falcons here.
Me too, man. Hey, Jacksonville gets a win overseas. Green Bay has been playing really great football since that first – man, I mean, and they didn't have their quarterback for a stretch, obviously, but Love's starting to get it together again a little bit. Green Bay at Jacksonville. What do you like here, man? I mean, Jacksonville looked good last week, but they've been so inconsistent, and Green Bay has been one thing, has been consistent.
Yeah, they might have some jet lag coming back, but the Packers do have the Lions on deck, so hopefully they're not looking ahead because that could be an issue for them. Line's 4. It's right there. The number's right there. This is a tough one to call because the Jags have been so inconsistent all year, even though they have played some pretty good team stuff. If anything, I probably lean Jags here as long as they don't, turn the ball over 2 or 3 times. They can probably stay within that number. I mean, the Packers have a way of letting other teams in the game. I think they've had 11 giveaways on the season on offense. So if they continue to turn the ball over like that, I think Jacksonville can hang around a little bit.
Who would have thought the greatness of Joe Flacco? They're the Colts sitting at 4-3 right now. And you've got Houston, which has kind of wobbled a little bit the last 3 weeks. So, I mean, they changed the quarterback. Anthony Richardson does not look like the guy there. And they brought in a quarterback who can move the sticks like he did in Cleveland. And if you think about it, Joe Flacco got the Browns to the playoffs last year. And here he is again playing ball. Indianapolis at Houston. Who do you like here?
It's a division game, but I think the price is wrong on this one. Back in week 1, the Texans closed -3, 3-point favorites on the road at Indy. And then I think they ended up winning by 2 points. And now they're just 5-point favorites at home. So if you do the math, it doesn't make any sense. Texans should be favored by at least 7 points here. Indianapolis is really banged up on offense and defense. Houston has the better quarterback. Laying 4.5 and 5. I think you're stealing money. I think the Texans win this game easily, to tell you the truth.
New Orleans had the Chargers, and it's in SoFi Stadium there in Los Angeles there with the Chargers. The Chargers lost a game this past week to Arizona. New Orleans is struggling, but they're getting guys back here. Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, is on the hot seat here heading into this football game. Chargers rebound and get a win here at home?
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans, after the second game of the season, everyone was talking about Super Bowl, and I told everyone to pump their brakes. And now they've lost 5 straight, but they're really banged. They were really banged up. They lost a lot of players. Over the last 2 games, they've got blown out by a combined 47 points to the Broncos and Buccaneers. But I think this line's a little too high. I mean, offensively, the Chargers are a little challenged. They rank 26th in the league in yards per rush attempt, 26th in points per game. They run plays at the slowest pace of any team in the NFL. Saints are getting some guys back. I think Lobby's coming back. Taysom Hill's expected to play. I'm not looking to bet on the Saints either, but I think the smart move, if you can tie the Chargers into a teaser, take it down to a pick 'em, and tie them in with maybe the Ravens, Chiefs, or Broncos, you probably cash a ticket. But I'm not looking to bet either team at that price. It's high. It's 7 points, man. It's the NFL,
This is going to be a very interesting ball game because Seattle's one of the tougher places to play. Buffalo has to travel across the country, one of the most traveled spots besides going overseas to London or Frankfurt. You got to go up to Seattle, and you're coming in from Buffalo here. Buffalo's played great. Josh Allen has no turnovers on the season. He's probably second right now in the MVP race to Lamar Jackson. How do you see this thing here playing out here? Buffalo at Seattle.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. But again, if your life depended on it, who would you bet on, Geno Smith or Josh Allen?
I'm taking Josh Allen.
Yeah, and the line's only 3. I mean, you can buy the half a point down to 2.5. I think Buffalo runs the ball down Seattle's throat. I think James Cook has a big game. You can bet on plus 2 touchdowns, plus 950. You get 10-1 on your money if James Cook scores 2 touchdowns. I like that. I like the over 58.5 pass rushing yards for him. Seattle's run defense is one of the worst in the NFL. They're giving up, I think, like 146 yards per game on the ground. So I think Buffalo bullies them here, and they win the game. They cover the spread, and Cook has a big game.
Denver, do they cover against the crappy-ass Carolina Panthers, man? I mean, Bryce Young's put back in. David Tepper, this always kind of blows my mind. David Tepper's the 4th richest owner in the league, and he has the worst franchise in the league. I mean, hey, just because you know how to make money doesn't mean you know how to make a football roster. That's for damn sure. Denver, though, Bo Nix is winning some ball games, man. Do you think they cover?
Yeah, we talked about how good this defense was when they started off the season 0-2. I told everyone they were legit. I'm not looking to bet the Panthers here. I mean, they stink. And at full strength, they were only expected to win 4.5 games on the season. That was the projected Vegas win total before the season started. And now they're also the most injured team in the NFL. So how do you back a team like that? And as legit as the Broncos defense is, I mean, they're ranked number 1 in the NFL opponent yards per play metric. Their offense is only putting up 20 points per game. So 11's a big number. Total's 41.5. Again, I didn't bet this game yet, but gun to my head, Broncos at home in that high altitude, legit defense. I guess I would lead Denver here, man. But again, I think you're better off putting this team in a teaser, dropping that points down. So,
well, the football gods in the National Football League and the networks decided that Chicago and Washington was more enjoyable to watch than Philadelphia and Cincinnati, so they flexed them out for this thing here. Washington at home versus Caleb Williams. I'll tell you what, Caleb has come on, man. I mean, pink fingernails and all. Could be a trend in Chicago coming up here because he's played good. They're starting to get the receivers going. DeAndre Swift is starting to get going there. Their defense is playing a little better. Could have a really great linebacking core there with TJ Edwards, the former Eagle. Washington's played great. They probably have the best linebacking core in the NFC East. How do you see this one here?
I bet the Bears minus 2.5. The line moved to 3. There's still a couple of 2.5s out there, but there's some sharp money hitting the screen now in the Bears. I mean, how do you bet on a banged up Jaden Daniels if he plays? Or how do you even bet on Mariota? I mean, it's just this Bears defense is legit. They got 13 takeaways on the season, while the Commanders only have 6 on defense. Chicago ranks 5th in opponent yards per play on defense, while Washington comes in 27th. Caleb Williams starting to look better. Washington's a little banged up on offense. I like the Bears here. I think they win the game.
Dallas, your favorite quarterback, Dak Prescott, versus Brock Purdy. It is in the Bay Area. Well, Santa Clara, whatever that is. It's kind of like wine country, so it's not really Candlestick Park here a little bit. That's where all the weirdos hang out. So Dallas at San Francisco. How do you see this one? They're getting some components back. The Niners are beat up, but some people are coming back. And there's the wobbling Cowboys. Who do you like in this one?
I think it's too many points. You're getting 5 points. I don't think the 49ers are healthy enough to be laying 5 points to Dallas, even if they are at home right now. Cowboys are coming in this game with extra rest. They're getting some key guys back on defense. San Francisco's banged up on offense. 5 points is a lot in the NFL. I think it's like a field goal game. I think San Fran wins the game, but they don't cover.
Monday night, Giants at Pittsburgh. Hey, Pittsburgh looks – how about this with Russell Wilson in there? I don't know, man. They look better. And if he continues to play like he did last week in the second half, Pittsburgh with that defense in their run game looks like old school Pittsburgh again. I mean, the Giants look like total trash. They're probably the second worst team in the league next to Carolina right now. Does Pittsburgh get it done Monday night?
It looks that way. I haven't bet the game yet. The line's up to 6. It opened up at 4. There's some sharp money that hit the screen on Pittsburgh. And like you said, they look like bullies Monday night. That kid Pickens, I mean, you just throw the ball up in the air and he catches it. And that's something Justin Fields couldn't do. So, Pittsburgh's a much better team. But again, laying 6 points, it's the NFL, and the Giants have a good defense. If anything, I kind of like the under 37. You got 2 pretty good defenses. I'm not looking to bet the side yet, but I do like the under 37 a little bit.
All right. Couple more here. I want to do college football here. Then I want to get your thoughts on tonight's World Series. I cannot ever ask you anything on Notre Dame because I'm a Miami guy, so Notre Dame is completely off the table. So we don't talk Notre Dame and Navy here. But Indiana, believe it or not, going into this game against the semifinal team, Washington, the Huskies here. I mean, that's a team that made the Final Four last year. And who would have thunk it? Indiana's undefeated for the first time since 1969. I mean, here they are. And, I mean, Indiana and Bloomington, you like this?
I haven't touched the game. I haven't bet it. And my motto, if I haven't bet the game, I hate giving out an opinion. I haven't even looked at it strong enough, to really, go into it the right way. So I haven't bet the game yet, Dan. I haven't bet that game yet.
How about this one here? Illinois at Oregon, number 1 team in the country, going up to Oregon here. And Illinois is having a hell of a season there with Brett Bielema, man. What a job he has done. He was the former Wisconsin head football coach, and now you got Oregon, who became the number 1 team in the country. This is a great little matchup here. A Big Ten, believe it or not. It used to be it would have been a Pac-12 Big Ten matchup, but now it's a Big Ten matchup. How do you see this thing?
It's a big number, man. 21.5, 22
Holy
points.
cow. I'm on Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can hang around. That's a ton of points. Illinois is pretty good.
Yeah.
They showed they can play.
Yep.
Oregon's coming off, big emotional win. I don't think Oregon will put the foot to the pedal throughout the whole game. I think the dog covers that game, to tell you the truth.
Hey, I'm going to take Missouri over Bama.
That's all.
Bama. Xander's going to freak out here, but dude, I think Bama just doesn't look like the same Bama team, man. I mean, the coach really not being there, and this guy that they have now from Washington, DeBoer, in there. I mean, they got beat by Vandy. Now they just got beat by Tennessee and really kind of handled by them. Now you got a Missouri team who was upset a couple weeks ago, but I think they're better going into this game. Am I wrong in Tuscaloosa? Or again, is it just Bama at home? That's where the difference is, because I could get that if it's Bama at home.
Well, when I tell you what the line is, you're going to be shocked. The line opened up Alabama minus 13. It's up to 17. So
then I'm taking Missouri into 17.
Yeah, it's a lot of points. I didn't bet the game. I can't put my finger on this out. I thought that, I had them over Georgia. I thought they were better than they were. Then they've kind of regressed since that. So, I'm still trying to figure out who this Alabama team is. But again, that's a lot of points, 17 points against a pretty good Missouri team.
All right, finally here. Do the Canes cover against that unbelievably awful FSU? People and program and stadium, Doak Campbell, you can burn it down. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. I have no problem with anything. If you want to kidnap the horse, have at it. I don't care. Do they cover this game?
Man, I mean, before the season started, we were bullish on them. Before anyone knew how good this team was. And we were right on point. I mean, they're averaging, 48 points per game. They're putting up
number one offense in the country.
Yeah, they're putting up almost 600 yards per game, 8 yards per play, which is number one in the nation. They've been a little shaky, though, on defense the last 3 weeks. They've given up an average of 39 points per game. But the good news is Florida's offense blows. I mean, I don't think – no, they did. They put up 20 points one time this season, and that's it. 21.5, 22 points, that's a ton of points. But I kind of lean Miami here to cover the Vegas number. I mean, Florida State's a turnover machine. I think they're ranked like 125th or 130th in the nation in turning the ball over. So if that continues, Miami could roll on this team. And I kind of like the over, too. The over's at 56.5. I like Miami in the over a little bit.
I told Miami to beat them by 50 if they could. Finally, tell me I'm wrong here. I get the Yankees in 7.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at them, right, I think the Yankees got the better pitching. The hitting's about the same. You could grab plus money on a coin flip, grab plus 110, 118 early on the Yankees. The Yankees played the Royals and the Guardians, who are the two best pitching teams, in baseball this season. And Judd had trouble hitting those guys, but I think he has a big series. I think he comes back against the Dodgers and that weak pitching staff. And I think the Yankees win the whole thing. We gave it to you guys before the season started at 13-1. So if you bet $100 on the Yankees and the Yankees win the World Series, you win $1,300. And it's another sports betting future that we gave you guys that, it's going to cash. That and Cam Ward, Heisman. I think he's going to win the Heisman as well. We gave that to you guys before the season started at 5-1. But I think the Yankees win it all.
Fantastic stuff. See, Embiid can't get through a night playing 48 minutes, but my friend just came here and gave you money tips here. Playing hurt here, injured and sick, but you get through it. My good friend, tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. The website's at phillygodfather.com. And every Friday, the best show on the planet, the Dan Sileo show. And go Trump. Trump's going to win Pennsylvania. He's going to win Michigan. He's going to win Wisconsin. And he might win New Jersey. You can get 10-1 on your money if you bet Trump to win New Jersey. So keep firing, guys.
How about Nevada?
He's favored in Nevada, minus 150 right now. He's favored in Arizona. He's favored in every swing state in the country. This is going to be a landslide, man. It's going to be a landslide.
Hey, thanks a lot, Godfather. I appreciate it.
Good luck, guys.
You got it. That is the Philly Godfather. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills. So, by the way, I'm going to take Pitt over Cuse tonight. Oh, no, excuse me. That was last night. No, my bad. I'm going to take A&M to upset LSU on Saturday. I don't think OU can hang with Ole Miss too. I don't. So again, 31-20. Big Sills has the Bengals handily winning on Sunday. Absolutely great stuff. Guys, don't forget to catch us on Sunday. Pre-game show. Xander will have your halftime. We will have the post-game on JAKIB. Have a great football. By the way, the World Series, I got the Yankees in 7. Have a great one. Please hit the like button. Want to thank our friends at BetUS for powering the 4 hours here. We will see you Monday for the show, Sunday for the pre and post here on JAKIB Sports. Joe, Xander, thank you very much. 2 to 6 on Monday. We'll see you on the flip side.